Thanks for tuning into the BoshNRoll channel. Liking the video and subscribing to the channel are free and easy for you, and they help me out a lot. If you want to go further with your support, Patreon and YouTube membership offer access to the BoshNRoll Discord community, early access to lists, written content, things like that. You can have me play your deck on the channel, and the highest tiers come with individual coaching sessions. If you use YouTube membership, you also get sweet badges and emotes integrated here into YouTube. You can support the channel while you shop at tcgplayer.com by using my affiliate link in the video description, and you can play any deck anytime by using a cardhoarder.com loan account on Magic Online. If you want to wear your support, check out the merch store. And of course, thanks for being here. Now let's go play some Magic. Hey everyone, it's Brian Koval here. I'm here with Rich. Hey Rich.
Hey, how's it going, Brian?
Pretty good. We are here to do something pretty exciting, but let's do some introductions first. I am Brian Koval, BoshNRoll on YouTube, Twitter, wherever you want to be. Rich, introduce yourself. Where can we find you?
Yeah, I'm Rich Callie. I'm Lundel6 on Magic Online, Lundel66 on Twitter. I write for CFB. I've been playing Legacy forever, and I play a lot of Delver. People know me for playing Delver.
Yep, and that's why you're here. Over on the BoshNRoll channel, we have an extremely generous patron of the arts named Spunky, who is willing to put his money where his mouth is to get awesome content, and he has put up $500 for us to smash 4-color Yorion control into Izzet Delver 5 times for $100 a match. I've done this a couple times before on the channel. I played Bant versus Doomsday, and I played Bant versus Jeskai Saga when that was like the hottest deck. I picked up some money along the way, and Spunky has put up to do another one. And when Spunky said he wanted to see me play against Izzet Delver, you were the first name I thought of, and thank you for doing this.
Yeah, thanks for considering me. I love playing Magic for high stakes. As I said before we started recording, I would do this just for no money because it just sounds like fun just to play matchups for content. That just sounds really good to me. So it's really cool to be considered for that.
Yeah, so glad you could do it. What do you think about this matchup? Well, before I talk about the matchup, let me just say, to get ahead of the comments that say you can build your deck to beat whatever you want, I literally pulled the first posted Yorion control list off of MTG Goldfish right before I sat down to do this with you. You're going to see Seeds of Innocence and Unmoored Ego and some stone bricks in my sideboard. It is very clear I did not build for this matchup.
Yeah, I basically have been I've just been tuning Izzet Delver since Vagavan came out, so I'm just playing the deck list that I feel is best for the metagame right now. I think Yorion Zenith is a bit of a tough matchup. We'll get into that in a second. So there are a few cards, like the plan is kind of well versed for the matchup, but it's not like I went against. I think it goes against the spirit of what we're trying to do here, to just build decks that are designed to beat each other. So.
Yep, absolutely. And that's always the first comment, so we got ahead of it.
Oh, yeah.
All right, so what do you think of this matchup? I am known for Bant control, and when I say Bant to the broader audience out there, if you're not deep in the Legacy trenches right now, when I say Bant, I mean Swords of Plowshares and Prismatic Ending, Brainstorm and Ponder, and Endurance and Uro. And then the rest of the things, like that's the shell, and then Bant is being used for various 4-color and even 5-color builds right now, but in Legacy parlance, that's what Bant control means. And I am a Bant with a small black splash Yorion build right now, which is one of the most popular decks. It was number 2 behind Delver for a long time on Goldfish metrics. It's down to number 4 as of tonight, but it's still the most popular control deck by a wide margin. Most of my serious reps are with 60-card Bant decks, but I have played this deck, and the cards are mostly the same. So I'm ready for this, but I have not jammed it specifically against Izzet Delver. How does this feel from your side?
Yeah, in kind of the same way, I haven't played an infinite amount against the Yorion versions. I play against it when it comes up, and so it's not like one of those matchups I have hundreds of reps against. I think in general, they're definitely on the tougher side. Depending on how the matchup plays out, it's very interesting. Your list is going to play Green Sun Zenith. Is that correct?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the Green Sun Zenith variant is particularly challenging for Delver, and part of that is that some of the counterplay that Izzet has in the sideboard, planeswalkers like Narset, cards like that, can be pressured a little bit more easily by creatures. So then it's harder to kind of formulate this game plan where you just get to either sidestep their removal and make things awkward. Um, it's a tricky matchup. There's a lot of different things and directions it can go. Um, and overall, I think the people that play the four color, the Bant Zenith archetype generally think this is one of their better matchups, and I'd be inclined to agree.
Yeah, it definitely makes sense on paper. I've been building Band from when we started with a Hull Breacher, Days Undoing sort of flash shell. That was before Endurance was even printed, before MH2. After they banned Oko, before MH2 came out, like I was already on the bandwagon, and then they gave me Endurance. They said, Brian Koval, personally, we printed this card for you. Thanks for playing Magic all these years. And I accepted the gift, embraced it, and I've played every flavor since, and this one does seem heavier, like big butts, reach bodies, Leovold on a clear board could be a banger. Primeval Titan, good luck with that one. Like there's some thick bodies in this build and the tools to find them. There's also a lot of air in the build. Like there's some stuff that I don't really want to see. There's like Green Sun Zenith, while you get the power of finding whatever you want, it also means your card always costs one more than it should. Which is tough against the Wasteland Days deck. And we're just going to see how that all shakes out.
Yeah, definitely. I think the clunky element is the best thing for Izzet to attack. I think this is one of the best Izzet variants of all time. The Ragavan deck is very much the best deck in the format. And I think that's because it's so efficient and it has so many different angles that it can attack from, even against a deck that's seemingly built to beat it. As you said, the cards in it, I mean, 4 Sword Splashes, 4 Prismatic Ending. I mean, if this was Delver of Days Past, that would just be a game over in so many situations. But this deck has a lot of counterplay and a lot of different ways to navigate in the matchup. So it's Delver is never going to be too much of a dog in these situations.
Yep. Yeah, it's important to explain to the people who don't play Legacy and even the people who do. Building your deck to beat Delver is like, you know, building your deck to beat Workshops in Vintage. Like that deck is still gonna sometimes Trinisphere you on turn 1 and you never cast a spell, where like Ragavan backed by Days waste you, good luck. Like that's still gonna happen even if you build everything you can. And you could keep a handful of Prismatic Endings and then they just turbo out a Murktide region and dip you, or boarded Narsets or Court of Cunnings. We have not actually shared our exact list, so I don't know his sideboard tech specifically. And I think that's better for this sort of showcase. So I can adjust over our 5 matches to, he's got 2 Narsets. I didn't know that, like that sort of stuff. And you get to see, you won't see my unmoored egos, but you'll learn my sideboard plan too. So this will be fun to develop over 5 matches played.
Yeah, there's something exciting as a player playing with open deck lists, because you just get to like tactically navigate what you know that your opponent's going to have. But at the same time, as you said, this is 5 matches. That's going to give us a lot of information to work with, and it's going to like watching us develop our plans and adjusting what we're doing in the moment is going to be a lot more exciting from a viewer perspective.
Yeah, I think so too. Do you have anything else you want to add before we go in and play this thing?
No, I think I'm ready to get going.
All right, great. Thanks again for doing this, Rich. Thank you, Spunky, for supporting this. Everybody loves the Spunky sponsored content on my channel. He goes big and people appreciate it. So Spunky, thanks for having us do this. And let's jump into it. Welcome to this exciting playoff video versus Rich Callie. I have been challenged by subscriber Spunky to play 5 matches for $100 each versus Delver expert Rich Callie with his signature blue-red Delver deck versus this Yorion 4-color Zenith deck. This deck is just another iteration of Bant, and by Bant I mean Endurance, Uro, Swords to Plowshares, Prismatic Ending, Brainstorm, and Ponder, and then everything else is seasoned to taste. But that's the Bant core, and this certainly qualifies as a Bant control deck in Legacy language. This version goes bigger with Yorion. It gets 20 extra cards in the main, has a Green Sun Zenith package to find your Scavenging Ooze or Primeval Titan or Knight of Autumn, Leovold, just a bunch of fun of one-ofs in the deck that solve a variety of situations. This deck is very powerful and very popular. It was the number 2 deck for several weeks on MTG Goldfish. I think it's slipped down to number 3 or number 4 at this point, but this was a hot one for a while. What I think about the matchup here is that this deck was popular for a reason, and the reason it would be popular is because it has a solid Delver matchup. There are 8 spot removal spells in Plow and Prismatic Ending. There's Icefang Coatl that can challenge their board. There's Endurance that's always a beating against them. Endurance stops everything except Murktide Regent. Grist can remove Murktide Regent. Uro can pull ahead on cards and life, get out of burn range, get out of cheese range, and then bury them in cards. Primeval Titan, they have very little they can do about this card, especially if it brings a pair of zombies with it. Like this, you can see how this deck would line up well against Delver. You can also see how this deck would line up poorly against Delver. This Green Sun Zenith package, the signature aspect of this version of the deck, has a tool for every occasion. Just, you need some lands, find Ramanap Excavator. You need Graveyard Hate, find Ooze. You know, you need mana. There's Birds of Paradise or Dryad Arbor. Just a little bit of this, a little bit of that. Where you don't need a little bit of this and a little bit of that when you play against Delver. You need a lot of this being Endurance. You need a lot of this being Uro. You need a lot of removal in Swords to Plowshares and Prismatic Ending. Like the Ramanap Excavator, and Delver usually plays 1 or 0 basic lands, so there might be an endgame situation where you waste them off all their mana sources with Ramanap Excavator and Wasteland, but you need to get to that point where, and I think if you're at that point, you would have won with anything. And Scavenging Ooze can mess with their Delirium, but it can help tax their Murktide Regents. But if this comes down after the Murktide Regent, it's too late and it doesn't do anything. Icefang Coatl, counting this as a removal spell in the deck building process isn't going to line up well against Delver because they're a deck full of Lightning Bolts. And this turns on Lightning Bolt against a control deck. Like other builds of Bant just have almost 0 good targets for Lightning Bolt, and here there's 4 really good ones. The 2 Force of Negations to complement the 4 Force of Wills. You don't really want any of these against Delver. Sylvan Library is terrible against Delver. I don't even put this card in my Bant decks anymore because of how poorly it lines up at most phases of the game against anyone being aggressive. I'm more of a Loam fan myself, Loam stan, and I do wish this deck was built differently for that reason. So there is some power here, and there's some weakness here. This list, by the way, I just said I wish it was built a little different. I did not change a card. I pulled literally the first Yorion Zenith list off of MTG Goldfish because that's what I thought would be fair for this challenge. Like, I could have built the deck with just Loams instead of libraries, and there's no Night of Autumn. I could have just played 4 Endurance in the main. But I could have main decked 3 Path to Exiles instead of just random cards here, like Grist or whatever, or Ramanap Excavator. That doesn't line up quite as well. Cut the Force of Negations, play Path to Exiles. Like, there's a lot of stuff I could have done here. I could have played 4 Baleful Strix to go with the 4 Icefang Coatl, but that wasn't the point of the challenge. The point of the challenge was play this deck against Blue-Red, and Rich did not do any specific tuning for me either. All that said, there's some good stuff here. There's some challenging stuff here that we're going to have to overcome. And that's what that matchup looks like. If we draw our Plows and our Uros and our Endurances, we're going to have a good time. If we draw our Ramanap Excavators and Grist and Primeval Titan, we're going to have a bad time. We will see how this lines up. Rich is one of the best Delver players on the planet, and he is not going to give us any windows. He is going to know exactly how to get us. He is not going to fall for normal heuristics where a lot of the times just in a Moto League, I would say something like they probably boarded out their Dazes against the control deck with lots of lands, and a normal player might do that. Rich will know exactly when he should leave Daze in and when he should leave it out. He's probably on some sort of level system where he will leave them in when he should leave them out and vice versa, because I won't play around them when he shouldn't have them in, and he'll get me with it eventually. And like, this is high level, like world class legacy play coming from my opponent, and it's going to be a very different experience than if you just queued into random Delver players in leagues. Let's see if this 4-color Zenith deck can hold up in the face of overwhelming skill and the best deck in the format. Let's do it. I have lost the die roll in run 1. That is a big part of this matchup. That's going to be the difference between this Swords to Plowshares being dazeable or not on turn 1 on the first threat. It's the difference between like Abundant Growth getting dazed. Like die roll is so big in this matchup. I would be just like high-fiving all my friends with this hand on the play. On the draw, it's still one of the better hands I could ask for. Abundant Growth is a good one. I get to get all of my 4 colors set up on a basic land that can't get wasted. And Swords of Plowshares is the card you want to see off the bat. The Force of Will is a little clunky, but I'm in. 3 lands, 2 of them are basic. All colors represented. Okay, no Ragavan. At least not right away. I'm going to go for my Snow Forest. There are 4 Ice Fang Quaddles in this deck, so fetching your Snow basics first does matter. Let's see if he wants to daze this. Is this a fight we're going to have? Don't think so. Yep. Okay, cool. The difference between Delver with a turn 1 threat and Delver without a turn 1 threat is just night and day. So I'm wondering if he's just going to dash Ragavan here, playing around Prismatic Ending, or if he just actually didn't have one. All right, DRC with some extra. All right, so I can plow this immediately. Plays around Daze. I'm even playing around Force right now. I could pitch Coatl or Brainstorm if I think that I care. There is one thing to consider here, which is Wasteland. If I pass the turn and let him play a Wasteland, if I Swords to Plowshares, he can waste my fetch land, and I fetch in response, and he gets value off of Daze where otherwise he wouldn't have it. I could also just let Dragon's Rage Channeler be in play and start to develop with my Ice Fang Coatl, and I think that's what I'm going to do. DRC represents card selection. It represents even card advantage in some cases. But it's not Ragavan. Like, I can use my life total as a resource against DRC in a way that you have to measure the mana ramp and all the other stuff that's attached to a Ragavan. I might actually just Brainstorm if nothing else happens here, like take my beats from DRC and step Brainstorm. If he has built his deck for the metagame at large, there could be gut shots in this deck. There could be Pyroblasts in the main deck. Those do help the Delver mirrors. I'm going to Brainstorm in response to this. If we end up fighting over Brainstorm, I want him to get 1 surveillance instead of 2. Okay, this is a lot of basic land. I'm going to tuck the Tropical Island. There's a basic Plains and a basic Island left in the deck. So this is actually, I should get rid of these Prismatic Vistas because I actually just have access to all of my basic lands without them right now. Oh, there is a non-snow forest as well. So there's 5 basics, but only 4 that are snow. That's for Field of the Dead. And I'm going to fetch in my upkeep. When you untap like this, it lets you play around various things. Like, there's no shock lands in this format. You don't have to fetch on the end step. Okay, cool. There's a Prismatic Ending. I'm going to fetch my basic Plains, which is snow, by the way. I'm going to Prismatic Ending one of these DRCs. Now I can Swords to Plowshares and still play around Daze, or I could flash in Coatl, which does get dazed, but I don't have to cast it if he doesn't present a scarier threat. He hasn't ragged me, hasn't cantripped. This is a very weird start, and I'm trying to figure out what this means. It means that the hand is full of spells or Murktide Regents, like reactive spells or Murktide Regents. So Daze, Force of Will, Murktide Regent, Lightning Bolt, maybe the Pyroblast, maybe a Gut Shot. These are the cards I'm thinking about right now. Maybe Wastelands are in the hand, and I'm playing on basics over here. One of the secrets to playing around Delver is if you play into their hands, you're going to lose. If you respect what they can do, like if you just never play into Daze, if you just never play into Okay. A 3/3 Murktide. Yeah, I told you. Look how awkward that is. It's a 3/3. I can Swords to Plowshares this in the end step. We're still playing around days. The next one will be huge, but this one's pretty small. This is an interesting choice. Like DRC feeds the next Murktide, which grows the current Murktide. I could just get rid of the 3/3 now. Yeah, I actually am going to do that. Spend a Swords to Plowshares now while they're tapped out. They can't daze. Well, they can, it just isn't good. And sometimes you just draw another Swords to Plowshares. Magic the Gathering. There's so many lands right now that cracking off a Wasteland seems kind of fruitless. Now I can deploy my Coatl. It has Death Touch, and I can still Swords to Plowshares, and all of this is around days. Hasn't attacked for more than one yet this game. If I cast this Coatl, I fully expect a Lightning Bolt, and that's okay. I'm still gonna put it in there. Could even hardcast Force, which is pretty gnarly here. And maybe the Wasteland would have been good on that. Yeah, that's really good. Okay, so the DRC triggers. Milled Mishra's Bauble. I can plow this thing. I'm untapping into hardcast Force as well. Yeah, I'm going to get my value here. I'm going to get paid. If the last two cards in hand are Force Blue card or Double Daze, this might be a spot where we end up having a fight. Because my hand is actually pretty bad at the end of this. Like if he does Force Blue card here or Double Daze. Okay, pay 1. Okay, so the hand is 2 Volcanic Islands right now. And he kept a card on top, so did not get Delirious there. And there is something that he wants to keep hold of on top of the deck. Oh, that was a good draw. Let's see, there's 3 card types in the graveyard over there. If I waste... Oh, this is not a good draw. Oh, Tropical Island, yeah. Okay, I do have a green source. I only had green or black, but not both. Okay. Green, black, colorless. I'm going to play this Grist, get it down. Now, I don't have a creature to kill the DRC with, but I'm going to start accumulating advantage here. I'm a mana short of putting Yorion in my hand. It'll be interesting to see if this Wasteland is now a mana source. Okay, that's a card worth keeping on top for sure. That's the best card in the deck at this point in the game. Milled Ragavan, that gives him Delirium. My earlier read, though, remember when I said the hand is full of reactive cards, maybe some Dead Dazes, maybe a Force of Will? The hand was Force Daze at the time. Okay, Ponder was exiled with Expressive Iteration. I expect Grist to take a chunk of damage here, and I probably will end up getting Wastelanded too. He just has so much mana. I can't imagine he needs 5, where 4 wouldn't get the job done. And Grist takes a punch. So Grist is going to be good for 2 creatures and 6 life here. There's the Wasteland. Oh, that was the draw. Okay. Plus Grist. Maybe I'll hit Uro and just get to Shred. I can Swords to Plowshares, Wasteland, then put Yorion in my hand. Yeah, I'm actually going to plow now. Even if the card in hand is Murktide Regent, which is the scariest thing that he could have right now, I have Force Blue card in the form of Yorion. I'm going to actually leave all these back. If the hand is Lightning Bolt dash Ragavan, I mean, Lightning Bolt kills Grist anyway, but I don't need to push for nickel and dime damage. At the point where I win the game, it's going to happen or it's not. This deck does have haste creatures, it does have burn, and I want to respect all of those things for as long as I can. My Wasteland might have been a little aggro, because now I can't cast Yorion next turn. Don't love that. I think I just got a little excited about all the things I could do with my mana. I just forgot that I had a 5-drop coming into my hand. And I plowed on the main phase because my plan was to tap out and get Yorion into my hand, and if I pay 3 to put Yorion in hand, then plow, then I'm open to Daze, where I don't have to be. We know there's a Volcanic Island in his hand right now. If there's a Murktide Regent anywhere in the 3 cards in his hand or the Ponder, like it can arrive at maximum size. That Ponder was on the stack for a very long time. Okay, here it is. Moment of truth. There's 2 cards in his hand. We don't know what they are. I could force pitching Yorion and just slam my cards on the table and just die if Daze is in the hand. But I'm pretty far ahead if Daze is not in the hand. I am going to force. Force is not going to get better than Murktide Regent in this matchup. Like most of the cards, you're pretty happy to answer 1-for-1 on the board, but Murktide Regent, there aren't a whole lot of them. And Grist is not loyal enough to make that exchange yet. Oh, man. That Wasteland. Welcome to playing a 4-color mana base. This would be the perfect turn to slam Leovold, like I talked about in the pre-match. I have I have black or green, but not both right now. I even specifically called out in the pre-match conversation, like slamming Leovold on an empty board. Like that's the move. Grist can kill a creature now at the expense of himself. I am leaving back 2 blockers because I don't want to get cheesed by a single Lightning Bolt dash Ragavan and then off to the races. Just giving that so much respect. All right, Bolt kills Grist. That would have drawn me a card if I had black mana. Awkward. Okay. But I'm not mad about it. Abundant Growth can turn Plains into a 5-color land, and Plains is the worst land normally. Oh, cool. Now I can cast Leovold. That did work out well, and I'm going to keep playing on basics. Blue, black, green. The hammer. I can attack with 2 insects now. Just always leaving back 2 blockers. Even if he has Lightning Bolt to clear the Leo, it's gonna draw me cards at this point, and every cantrip in his hand is dead until he kills Leo. And Murktide Regent is what he's tapping for right now, which is the thing that can still win this game. All right, another one. So I'm looking for the 4th Swords to Plowshares. Oh, wow. Managed to keep Delirium, too. I've been outmaneuvered. Outflanked. Scavenging Ooze, look who showed up. That is actually really good. So, Scavenging Ooze is here. That can... Instant or sorceries are what grow the Murktide Regent leaving the graveyard. So I can hang out on Scavenging Ooze for a moment here. I can force Dragon's Rage Channeler to attack and then block it. Like, I'm not going to take him off Delirium immediately. I'm going to wait until the creature is sideways and I can eat it for free. Okay, or you could just jam another Murktide. And, oh yeah, Murktide number 4. I'm not going to lie, didn't plan for that one. Now I'm not sure if there are a lot of outs here. Like, I go to 3. I can eat some creatures out of my own graveyard. Yeah, that actually sucked. Had exactly the thing to punish. I can eat that, and I can eat Grist, which is also a creature in my graveyard. Okay, I need multiple removal spells. Oh, that's not it. Yeah, we're just dead. The 4th Murktide Regent got it done. I think the 3rd one would have got it done, but that was bad. The full punish. I tend to like to push the line of patience versus greed, and it's easy to say in retrospect, like, that was so greedy, why didn't you just eat the thing, you big idiot? But that doesn't even really hold up to criticism, because there's only 4 copies of that card, already played 3 of them, had a lot of control over his draw steps. Like, either he's, like, we know he's a Delver genius, where he may have just said, like, Murktide's the most important card, I'm going to ponder all 4 of them to the top. But I think it's more likely that he just, like, drew one along the way at some point in between the ponders, and probably would have gotten rid of the extra ones if he could. But eating the Dragon's Rage Channeler completely for free, if he couldn't manipulate his own graveyard there, that was just a huge play, and it got punished by exactly that one card that he probably thought was bad until I cast Scavenging Ooze. Okay, sideboarding. These are the cards that I think are good here. Plague Engineer has some text, like naming Monkey just keeps Ragavan out of the way, but the Death Touch body is largely irrelevant because anything bigger than 2/2 can fly in their deck. Until I see more of his deck, like Force of Vigor, like I don't know if he's going to have like Court of Cunning or whatever, so I think all of my forces come out, or I don't have that many cards to bring in. 5 of my forces come out, Knight of Autumn's kind of a clunker. It is just like a castable creature that can challenge the board. It sort of becomes a question of blue count versus like how good are the things that are getting cast versus how good are my answers to them. If I just cut all these forces, then there's still one left in the deck for emergencies. Like once I'm ahead, I can find the force and try to close the door, just make sure that catches any BS. Narset is something I would want to fight over, but I do have a bunch of creatures that can challenge her, and I brought in Mystical Dispute, I have Prismatic Ending, I have Grist, so it's not like I have nothing against an Narset anyway. Yeah, I think this is at least where I'm going to start in this matchup. Path to Exile is a huge game. I like seeing that in the sideboard. I am going to keep this hand. Island Ponder keep. The BoshNRoll rules still apply, even in $500 challenges. It's a lifestyle. But seriously, this hand plays on basic lands. It has at least 3 colors worth of basic lands here. We have Icefang Coatl that we can turn on curve. We can cast Endurance, which is one of the bangers in the matchup. I'm just going to get the Snow Island and cast Ponder. And I know the matchup. I know I'm looking for removal. Should be a pretty clean Ponder. Okay, wow. Caracas and Prismatic Ending are actually both great. I'll probably shuffle away that Primeval Titan, but like it's not the worst card to just have in your hand. It's usually in the deck to Zenith for when you're ahead and you need to turn the corner. But surprise, here it is. 6 mana. Bang. Well, 7 mana against the Daze deck. I'm really going to enjoy watching Rich's side of the matches too, because we'll see, like, I am pretty loud in my content and like on Twitter and in general about just always playing around Daze. And I'm curious to see if he boards out Dazes because I'm going to play around them anyway, which like basically gives you Daze for free, or if he actually thinks the card is just so good that it's worth leaving in, even if I'm going to play around it. Oh, I should have played Caracas here. I was thinking about shuffling away my Primeval Titan, which I'm still going to do. But, like, Prismatic Ending is a sorcery. Caracas doesn't help fight Ragavan in my hand, so that didn't make a lot of sense. And I do have to get the plains here. This is my only route to plains. I will play off curve if it means that I get to play on basic lands. Right, and I'm going to Coatl this turn. Basically, no matter what happens, like I'm just casting Coatl this turn. And because Plains doesn't really cast non-removal spells in the deck, like the mana gets pretty awkward anytime you have your basic Plains. Like Endurance becomes a 4-drop if you fetch your Plains, and I can't Ponder and Coatl. Like the basic Plains is a big investment in the future because it makes your early turns really awkward. An end of turn Brainstorm. Did not shuffle. Liked at least one of those cards. Oh, there's a basic land in this list. That's good to know. That is important information for the future. I'm getting Snow Forest here and slamming Coatl. If this eats a Pyroblast, is what it is. They can't Daze. If it eats a Force of Will, it's a 2-for-1 either way. Mystical Dispute's a banger. That means I can cast Endurance with Counterspell Protection. And I think I would rather float Tropical Island into Wasteland range than Caracas. Now there's going to be a little dance where, like, he's going to try to get Dragon's Rage Delirious, so it's a real threat, and I'm going to be trying to keep him off Delirium, but if I wait too long to take him off Delirium, he gets to slam Murktide Regent, which I have one medium answer to right now. Prismatic Ending doesn't hit it. If this ending was Swords to Plowshares, I'd feel a lot better about this board state. And I didn't end the DRC because I want to have access to Endurance with protection. I fetched in the end step. Is that just to shuffle that extra Brainstorm card, or do we have a spell here? Lightning Bolting my Coatl. I'm going to let the Surveil resolve. And I'm going to let Bolt resolve. And then I'm going to cast Endurance. Like, this is a tasty Murktide graveyard. Let's deny it. Take away, like, that's the dance I was talking about, where it is tempting to jam, just wait, like, oh, it has to attack, I'm gonna eat it so quick. But Rich is smart enough to know that Endurance is in my deck. I just played my second green source. I'm playing around Daze. He would have pre-combated the Murktide if he has Murktide. And I am not ready to count on Mystical Dispute on its own to beat a Murktide Regent, who did not bottom the card, or bin the card off DRC. And I'm saving this Mystical Dispute for a Murktide Regent, or to protect a removal spell on Murktide Regent. Like, this is not to fight over Expressive Iterations. This game is going to go so long that I'm not going to be able to punish that card advantage. Okay, Prismatic Ending. Now I can cast this card. I have Ponder, I have Swords to Plowshares. Like, I got stuff I can do now. If this Ponder eats a Pyroblast, that's fine. Okay, Flusterstorm. I could have played around that one by playing my land, but I wouldn't have paid and tapped out for this anyway. Like, that's fine. You can have it. And if I play Karakas, what happens with that? I'll put it into play, and I think I'm just going to wish for Yorion here. No, I expect Narset or something. Do I have an attack? Dashed Ragavan, like Wasteland plus Dash Ragavan removes my Karakas. I'm going to attack. We did see him mill a Ragavan off of Surveil earlier, which could mean he has another one. It could mean he just doesn't think that card is good at this point. Or it could have just been the Creature for Delirium. There's a lot of ways that could have gone. Okay, this is a really good Mystical Dispute. I'm fully expecting a Pyroblast, but this is a really good target for Mystical Dispute. And this is what we talked about in the pregame intro as well, learning each other's lists. Mystical Dispute is not in every list, and it's the sort of thing that might not be on your radar until you're faced with it. But now he has to think about it for the next 4 matches. And this is why I didn't tap out to put Yorion in my hand, because then I would have been fighting a Narset. He did play around Spell Pierce by playing out the land. Like, if you just think I have nothing, you wait on the land, because what if Narset resolves, finds Brainstorm, and then you want to get rid of that land? So he was playing around something there by playing the land. It just was one point too small. Ooh, Unholy Heat. I like that. That's not in the stock list either. And it's in some lists, but it's not in all of them. What's up, Brainstorm? I can invest in the future with Yorion right now. I think that's what I want to do. I'm going to use Wasteland as a colorless mana source. Rather than, like, this deck does not need 5 lands in play. It doesn't need 4 lands in play. Like, Wasteland right now is more valuable as colorless mana to me than it is as Wasteland. Yeah, just like the Mystical Dispute is not always in the list for him to think about, Unholy Heat's not in every list for me to think about. So that was a cool exchange that we had. Just did not shuffle Ponder because Expressive Iteration was the card. Yeah, that's a good one to keep around. Does still have his land drop for the turn. Found a DRC. Yorion can consume that, so he must have a plan, or just not a better card, but Delver with 4 cards in hand. This is a lot of Swords to Plowshares. And frankly, I'm here for it. I'm just going to right now heads up Swords to Plowshares while Flusterstorm doesn't work, while Force of Will, or while Force of Negation costs 2 cards, while Force of Will, there's not 5 mana up. There's Murktide Regent. I'm going to let that resolve. And then we're going to go to my turn, see what I draw. I have an answer to it already. I just have to make sure it works. Well, I can Abundant Growth a land. I actually want planes to be planes in this situation. And I'm going to Brainstorm, see if I can find some help here. Or if we can get a fight over Brainstorm, which will help the Plow resolve. Okay, there's Pyroblast on Brainstorm. Here's my land for the turn, and Swords to Plowshares. Oh, I should have Wastelanded, moved to second main, and then Swords to Plowshares. I gave him a chance to interact that I didn't need to there. It's okay, though. The board is clear. Second mark. Okay, that one's a 7/7. 3 cards in hand. Terrifying number. Spent a Pyroblast last turn, knowing that I had Yorion in hand. So there's 2 mana up right now. I could just cast my Yorion, hope for the best. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I mean, I can't just not do anything here. Is there anything you can do for 2 mana that he can't do for 1? Like, if I decide to waste here? Alright, I am going to waste one of these lands. I can't think of a specific reason to do that, but I have done it. Okay, and I'm going all in right now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Please don't have Pyroblast. Okay, Yorion resolved. That means I get to draw an extra card off Abundant Growth, and I can block bounce with Karakas and keep this Murktide under control for a minute. I'm actually going to fetch my other basic forest to put the Abundant Growth on when it comes back in, and that way I have an untapped mana source coming into the next turn. Okay. Alright, we got it kind of an engine, and I think if he could have broke it up, he would have. But one of the big problems here is Wasteland at any point is extremely destructive. Like, he's driving right now. I need to get to blocks with Karakas still in hand to be able to block and pick up Yorion to absorb damage. Ragavan, that's very clever. Now I can take 7 or eat Ragavan. I'm going to take 7 and eat Ragavan. Yeah, that was a really good way to turn Ragavan into 7 damage. And I'm not going to bounce Yorion in the end step because then Lightning Bolt picks it off. And Sylvan Library is kind of a heater. If I get another turn. Which is not guaranteed. Haven't seen an Uro yet in this match, which is really the card that you want. Dragon's Rage Channeler, okay. Submerge. No. Alright, that's bad. Dead to Lightning Bolt, dead to removing a card from the graveyard. Dead to Dash Dragavan. I didn't have to be dead to Dash Dragavan, but I did want to pick up my Yorion with Karakas. 1 life doesn't go very far in this matchup. I need Uro immediately, and I need to survive to get to my turn. We're getting bolted in the upkeep. Sick. Okay. Yep, no Uro is a huge problem here. No Green Sun Zenith in 2 games. We had some good back and forth, but none of my engines were ever online, and you're not going to beat Delver playing 1-for-1. Like, I don't think I got a 2-for-1 in either of those games, and as a result, we lose. Yep. Round 1 in the books. I'm on the play for the second match, and I have Karakas that can keep the monkey off my back. I'm going to keep this. I like that I can play a basic forest and have it pick up Abundant Growth immediately. I don't like Field of the Dead in my opening hand, but I have Brainstorm to fix that. Like I was saying at the end of the first match, Sylvan Library is an engine, Light from the Loam is an engine, Uro is an engine. If you aren't engineing, Delver's gonna grind you out. Like, their engine is Expressive Iteration, which we saw, 3 out of him in our first match, or maybe 4, and I did nothing. And this isn't me complaining, it's just me explaining where he pulled ahead on cards and I didn't, even though the early turns of both of those games were really good for me, just like the whole way across the board. I was very happy with all of those exchanges. This is a rare opportunity to cheese Wasteland the Delver deck. If he just wants to pass turn 1 without playing a threat, sure, let's play turn 1 over again. I play more lands than you. Let's do it. I also just drew Ramunap Excavator, which is very exciting if we get around to this Wasteland in the graveyard. It is not unreasonable to put them on nothing, no lands, and they concede when they're just out of mana sources. That's an engine, by the way. Okay, I'm going to play a land and Prismatic. Nope, I'm not going to Prismatic Ending. I am going to Prismatic Ending. Oh, good question. I'm going to Prismatic Ending. I was thinking about using my life total as a resource, but the selection of DRC, and I have Karakas to answer Ragavan's anyway. If he dashes Ragavan this turn, it's in, good job, but you can survive a hit from Ragavan. It's not game ending. It is just high variance and frustrating when they hit your Ponder, but sometimes they just don't do that, and it's fine. I didn't want to float my Karakas out into Wasteland before it gets to answer anything, because it's possible he's boarding out some number of Wastelands, post board, but I don't think so, given our talk before the matches started, where he said like the clunkiness in the mana base is one of the places you can exploit. And he's right about that. We saw that in the last game when I couldn't cast my Leovold. Okay, it's time to brainstorm. Great. I can get rid of Field of the Dead. I don't really want Force of Will in my hand either. I'm going to fetch and cast Ponder. I should have fetched with the Misty Rainforest, because I was getting Island anyway, and Prismatic Vista can get Plains, but Misty Rainforest can't. Alright, still looking for white cards. I could fetch the other island here. I can also just put Abundant Growth in my hand. If Ragavan connects, it gets Windswept Heath, and I don't care. Okay, I'm going to put Windswept Growth in my hand. Windswept Growth, lol. Abundant Growth in my hand. And pass the turn. This is a really low impact connection from Ragavan if that's what's happening, and I can shuffle my deck if I decide I don't want a land on top. Which I probably don't, given that Ramineb Excavator's already in my hand. Looks like we're just got a 4/4 Murktide. Alright, definitely don't want Windswept Heath on top of my deck at this juncture. I am going to fetch the other basic island, because I want my Coatl to be on if I draw Coatl. Scavenging Ooze right on time. I'm going to invest a little mana in the future. This thing's only a 4/4, which is still powerful, but there we go. Okay. I can still play around Daze if I brainstorm first, which could find some help here. Like a Force of Will, for example. Okay, I'm going to tuck Scavenging Ooze and Ramineb Excavator. Oh, I do want to respect Ragavan. How do I respect Ragavan while making sure Murktide Region is gone? Ramineb Excavator giving the Delver deck unlimited Wastelands is unconscionable. I'm going to try to mitigate that. I'll put Sylvan Library on top. Ramineb Excavator and Sylvan Library on top. Not that I want them to have Sylvan Library either, but Swords to Plowshares off of the land, the normal land, leaving up Karakas to fight the... Okay. So we're getting double dazed again. I will Force a Will a Daze in this position. Will I Force a Will a Daze in this position? What does that mean for me? It means I lose Brainstorm. You know what? No. This thing's only a 4/4. My deck has cards in it. Let's use them. I will Force a Will Ragavan, though, if it gets dashed here. Yeah, they... Oh, wait, they played a land already? Okay. Yeah, plays Volcanic Eye. Okay, so they're not going to be able to cast the Sylvan Library. In this case, they can have it. I would have forced Ragavan if it could have cast the Sylvan Library, but if they just take it away, I'm okay with that. Yep. And didn't really want that anyway. Like, I'm kind of behind the gun on life points. And I would have cast it if I drew it, don't get me wrong. But, okay. 4 cards in hand, one of them's Ragavan. This looks like a good time to cast Brainstorm. These are all fresh cards on top of my deck. Zenith and Grist. Interesting. I'm out of blue cards for Force of Will, so I can put that one away basically for free. And I can probably... If I cast Zenith, for how much and what do I get? Probably for 2 and just get a Coatl. And that's really bad against Lightning Bolt, which is a card that's in that deck. Let's see. Endurance is really bad right now. Leovold could make the game a little wonky. I could just get Uro, put it in the graveyard, get to work. Yeah, that actually sounds reasonable. I'm going to put back Force of Will, and I think I am actually going to put the Scavenging Ooze on top. And then I'm going to Zenith for 3. Oh shit, that plays into Daze. I just miscounted. Do I still Zenith for 3? No, I Zenith for 2. Okay, never mind. I'm Zenithing for 2. Yeah, for some reason I thought I could Zenith for 3, but because of Daze, I obviously can't do that. I'm going to get Coatl here. Didn't end step Lightning Bolt, which we'll see how he wants to use his mana for that. All right, had an extra land drop. It looks like we're just moving into combat. Deal. That's really interesting. I'm surprised you took that trade so readily. You must have another Murktide Regent. Yeah, that's the only thing that makes any sense there. Okay, yeah, you got it. All right, and this one is slightly larger. Okay, if I cast Grist, all right, here's the game plan. I'm going to cast Grist. Green, black, colorless. See if this resolves. Okay, and then fetch land, get Dryad Arbor, and whip it at Murktide Regent. Bang. All right, now I get to kill Murktide Regent. Sacrifice Dryad Arbor, kill Grist. Or kill, yeah, kill Grist. Kill Murktide Regent. And Karakas is protecting against the Ragavan. I think if he had Lightning Bolt, he would have bolted my Coatl last turn instead of ramming a 4/4 into it. He could have attacked me for 6. Yeah, it definitely didn't have Lightning Bolt last turn. That's a cool little trick, by the way. Your land can be a creature for Grist. And Dryad Arbor was a really bad draw at this point of the game, so I'm glad to get it out of the deck. Expressive Iteration means Ragavan's not connecting this turn. If I can stick Raminep Excavator and start wasting next turn, that becomes pretty interesting. There's the basic island. Delver of Secrets. How quaint. I love it. Okay, I have enough lands now, deck. Thank you. Let's mill an Uro, maybe? Nope. Okay, green, colorless, colorless. Play Raminep Excavator. See if this is worth a counterspell. I mean, it's a 2/3 body. Okay. A Raminep's in play. I think I need Yorion more than I need to wasteland them here. Though I can put Yorion in hand off of a wasteland and then surprise with the second wasteland next turn. I guess it's not a surprise. I can just hit them twice with this one that's already in play. All right, no surprises to be had here. It does not know the top card of the deck. I don't think. Yeah, Expressive Iteration was the last card cast. Of course, it's Lightning Bolt. My life is pain. Now it's going to be interesting. Like, does he just put me to 7 and Bolt becomes a very real threat? Is answering Grist part of the priority? I think all of that's going to be contingent on how well the hand can beat Yorion. You know, I can waste him off of Hardcast Force of Will, so I don't need to worry about that. Let's see where this Delver goes. Okay, he is respecting my board presence and not just racing to the dome, which I appreciate. Okay, Lightning Bolt on that creature. It drew a card. That was a 2-for-1. We briefly had an engine online. And Ragavan just heads up. Oh, yeah, okay. Engine. If I wasteland this untapped land, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, Yorion, or is it time to Uro? I can Uro 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. Can I wasteland Uro and cast Uro with priority? You know, I can definitely wasteland this untapped land and then cast Uro. Right, I'm going to make my land drop first, and then green, blue, colorless, Uro. This is what we were looking for. All right, wasteland in off the Uro. Hit you again. And you generally want to fetch before you preordain. Does my life total matter here? Less than having good card selection. Okay. I want to get Tundra. I can't get basic plains here because I do want to cast this Uro at some point in the game. I guess I have this 5-color land. Yeah, I didn't need to get Tundra there. Green Sun Zenith. I can Zenith for 1, get Birds of Paradise. That sucks, though. Bottom, top. Zenith will be good at some point. I will keep it around. Okay, he's got 2 cards left in his hand. About to draw another one. Uro is negating the Delver. I don't have to act on this Karakas right away because he has to kill my insect before he can even connect with Ragavan. And if Rag's going to attack, though, I'll take the block. And that's probably fueling the graveyard somehow, but having that card in hand where I have to think about it dashing, I think is worse than having an insect sometimes. All right, 6/6 creature. Okay, if the last cards in hand are Force Blue card, we're actually in some trouble. 1, 2, 3, 4. I can escape Uro and see where that goes. Zenith. There is... Grist is already used. Primetime doesn't save me here. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Okay. I can escape Uro and then Zenith for Coatl. Okay, here's Uro. Is Force Blue card. What's going on over there? It is not what's going on over there. I can put Wasteland in off Uro, and I still have my land drop for the turn, which lets me... Alright, 6, 7, 8, 9. I am going to Zenith for a Coatl here. Finally collect the Snow Plains out of my deck. I can't waste him off of dazing me. I can waste him off of red if he doesn't daze me, though, which means that can't bolt Coatl. And waste off of red. Okay. There are all 4 volcanic islands are in the graveyard or exile right now. He has basic island, which means he probably doesn't have steam vents. Might be out of red mana for the game. Yeah, that's a scoop. Okay, we got one on the board. Look at that. The game I found Uro, we were able to win. Surprise. Alrighty. Path to Exile, Endurance, Carpet, Dispute, Hydroblast, and cut 5 forces. I think that this is just... Like, there's not a whole lot of play to this sideboard. Like, sometimes there's play draw stuff, sometimes there's this, there's that. But this is an 80 card deck. The sideboard is only bangers for specific reasons, and it is pretty clear what's supposed to be in this deck right now and what's not. The only one that might be worth a conversation is Plague Engineer, though Unmoored Ego on Murktide Regent, that's not nothing. Fascinating. Wow. Do I have room to play around with that? Okay. I'm going to play around with that. I specifically joked about this card in the deck tech time, but we have lost all of the games we've lost to Murktide Regent, not to all the other things that are going on in the deck. This hand is in trouble to a turn 1 Ragavan, but I am going to keep it. And, of course, this is the game where he has turn 1 Ragavan. Now we're going to see what a game looks like when I can't answer Ragavan immediately. Abundant Growth. Sylvan Library. Okay. Time to get weird. Like, the real fear of Ragavan, even if it doesn't steal a great card, is that it can cast turn 2 Narset, and that's the real problem here. And he's cracking this fetch land pretty quick. Let's see what happens. Okay, it's not Narset, but he is going to get a Surveil trigger off this Abundant Growth. 2 of them even. Wow. Yeah, the extra mana is the really fucked up part about Ragavan. The card, I mean, he is also drawing a card here for free. Like, 1 mana, 2/1. When this deals damage, gain 1 mana and draw a card. Pretty fucked up. Okay, Court of Cunning confirmed also in this deck. Hadn't seen that one yet. And the fact that he binned that when he's already this far ahead, that scares the shit out of me, honestly. Okay, I'm gonna let this go into combat, because if he has a second Ragavan, he can just dash it if I kill the first one now. Okay, iterating. Mill. Didn't mill the second one. I'm gonna plow Ragavan now. Now that he's spent mana, can't dash the other one. So let's just take care of that. Exiled Ponder. So these are delirious and ready to punch. And this is not my list. Like we discussed, I just pulled it off of MTG Goldfish. But this is the type of game, which is why I don't really play Sylvan Library and Bant anymore. Like, I have it. It's the early game. Couldn't play it turn 2. I was already under the gun. And now I'm taking 6 on turn 3. I can't just cast this card, take another 6, and then Miri's Guile. Okay. I'm going to cast this Coatl in my main phase, where he can't Pyroblast it. I'm actually going to fetch... Oh, fuck. I forgot that I only have 1 Snow Forest. Alright. I was going to fetch the other Snow Forest and keep my 5-color land up, but that's not a thing that I have. Now I just have to draw a white card. Okay, I'm just getting forced out of this game. Yeah, this is the disgusting Ragavan Star tempo draw. Play draw Delver, folks. And he's milled past 2 Murktide Regents already, which means he has another one, or just doesn't think he needs it this game. Gross. This has Ragavan instead. This is the complete pounding. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I go to 2. I actually cannot win this game, and I don't want to risk this Ragavan connecting and revealing a sideboard card that he hasn't seen yet, so I'm just going to pack it. Yeah, there's 9 Swords to Plowshares in this deck. Maybe I should keep a hand that has one. All right, I'm going to go back in with Unmoored Ego. I'm going to play around with that slot. You're probably going to see Plague Engineer and Force of Will in the deck, mixing around. I'm not going to bring in Force of Vigor for Court of Cunning, because removing Court of Cunning is only, like, part of the fight. Taking the Monarch is the real challenge there. Okay, on the play, of course, I can Zenith for Dryad Arbor on turn 1, but having 2 green doesn't really help me much. Like, Prismatic Vista sucks ass here. I can try to... I mean, pulling ahead on mana is never irrelevant. And I'm keeping the hand. I have Hydroblast and Coatl and lots of good stuff here. I guess I will Zenith and start to pull ahead. Like, I'm always playing around Daze, and this lets me pull ahead of Daze in a way that is material and not just waiting. And, like, on the draw, Dryad Arbor sucks really hard against Delver with their Dazes and their Bolts and their Wastelands, but on the play, it's just like a thing in play that is going to mess with their mana denial plan if they don't deal with it. Can also just block Ragavan if it comes to that. I don't know if his list has, like, End the Festivities in it, or if it does, I doubt he would bring it in against me. Woo! That's a Submerge. Wow, that's fucked up. Okay. Alright, we did see Submerge before, so that one's on me. I'm gonna Hydroblast this and hope that it works. Okay, good. I'm just gonna make Ragavan dead, hope there's not another one to dash right away. Alright, DRC. It's not as bad. Uh-oh, are there 2 of them? They're very bad in multiples. Like Sand People. That was a Star Wars joke, not racism. In case anyone was wondering. Kept the card on top with the Surveil. Oh, wanted that one. Okay, I can play Wasteland and then play Coatl, or I could use Windswept Heath to dispute a counterspell. Or, no, this can be the 3rd. Yeah, it can be the 3rd Snow Source, or it can be Mystical Dispute. It can't be both. Okay, cool. Endurance is quite the magic card. Big fan. Yeah, Submerge being in this deck is a reason to never Zenith for Dryad Arbor, because that is such a beating. Now I have to draw the shitty card that is not a good creature or a good land after turn 1. Okay, I'm gonna block first, and then I'll crack my fetch to give my dude Death Touch. If he kills it in response, at least I got the block in and save 3 damage. I don't think Stifle is in this deck. At least I fucking hope not. A Submerge, okay. There are 2 Submerges in this deck. That's fascinating. Okay. That's actually really interesting, because now, I mean, now do I get Savannah or Tropical Island? Like, I don't have white mana, which is a problem, but having double green for Endurance next turn does matter. But now I'm playing into Wasteland, but is what it is, I guess. Oh god, got me. Got me good. Mystical Dispute. The Tropical Island would have done that, but I didn't have white mana, which is always important. So yeah, that's just really tough to manage all of those moving pieces. Alright, well, I can play around Daze. I can Wasteland them. I can cast Birds of Paradise and hold up a counterspell for a turn. I could cast Bird and put Yorion in my hand. I really think it's about time for an Endurance. Yeah, I'm going to play Wasteland and then Endurance next turn. Yeah, I can Endurance with Mystical Dispute back up. I am worried about the Murktide, but I can dispute a Murktide also. I just put Daze in hand. Fuck my life. Yeah, he's just going to Murktide now. But I am prepared for that. It's okay. Alright, we're into combat, which I don't actually like. Just seeing the Daze is so horrible. Force Pitching Days. And I can't Mystical Dispute right now because actually has 3 mana up. Where if I had wasted, wouldn't have been able to do that, but then would have been able to daze. Yeah, it's tough. It's a pinch all the time. Is this the spot where I fight over Iteration? No, because then I'm still dead to Murktide. I found a Delver off of Iteration. Wow, and has DRC plus Delver. 1 card left in hand. Ugh. Okay, so play. God, this Dryad Arborist sucks so bad. All right, Birds of Paradise is coming into play. Play my land and put Yorion in the grip. This deck is relentless. Like we were talking about, this deck is quote unquote built to beat Delver, and I'm still just not beating Delver at all. Jeez. All right, this one I will fight over because I know the 1 card in hand is Surgical Extraction, and I don't need to worry about Murktide Regent unless this resolves. Like, it's going to be a problem eventually, but for now, I'm going to get a second white source. Yeah, I'm going to dispute this thing. And I'm taking 9 right now. Does chumping help me? Okay, so if I take 9, I go to 5, and I'm dead through the Yorion. If I take 6, I go to 8, and then Yorion is technically stable. Yeah, I guess I have to block. Which is going to be a huge punish if I draw Swords to Plowshares, but I'm dead if I don't. Like, ugh. It is bad news all around. He can just fire off Surgical Extraction to Surveil 2 and fix his draw steps, which is probably worth doing here. I guess I don't know the matchup as well as he does, but it is a line that exists. Just fucking drew Lightning Bolt. Okay, I'm dead. Well, if he's going to do that, then we're not going to win. I needed him to just draw, like, a land. But instead, we are deceased. Like, if that was a blank for 1 turn, and I can deploy Coatl next turn, draw a card on his turn, like, this is the sound of hundreds of dollars oozing out of my ears. We're a few rounds into the video. Thanks for sticking with me. Friendly reminder that if you're still here and having fun, smash that subscribe button. And if you want to play what I'm playing, you can use my affiliate link for TCG Player to support the channel while you shop for cards, and you can try any deck anytime with a cardhoarder.com loan account for Magic Online. All these links are in the video description below. Now back to the league. I'm on the play in the 3rd match, and I cannot keep this hand. Like, dead to a single Wasteland, have this 3-color card in my hand. If this was Savannah, maybe I could keep this, but no, even that sucks. This is a mulligan all day. Jeez. I'm gonna risk it for the biscuit on this one. Send Primeval Titan to the bottom. I would love for this Ponder to find any basic forest, like any green fetch land or fetch land that can get basic forest. If the Ponder is literally just 3 lands, I'm okay with that situation too. We both mulled to 6. And this is a huge sign of weakness. He is not going to miss the fact that I just led on a non-basic land. Okay, good. Didn't waste me right away, which means that I can get my Abundant Growth onto an island. So now my colors are set up. Good. I can play the other Abundant Growth, but I don't think that I want to. I think I just want to play around Days and develop now that he's given me this window to do so. Oh, I hate that so much. That is such a sweat. I love playing on basic lands, especially in this matchup. Delver of Secrets. Okay. All right, deck, what do you got for me? Maybe an Uro? Okay, a Plains is really good too. Plains can carry Abundant Growth like a boss. I can Swords to Plowshares, then Ponder. I can also just wait. Yeah, I think I should wait here. Because if I play Ponder, then Plow gets dazed, and vice versa. Expressive Iteration in hand. I am going to Plow Delver. I got to start spending mana, or I'm going to fall behind. There's the Iteration. I don't mind if he finds Wasteland here. Like, I am set up now. I have more land drops in my hand. Exiled a Delver and had a land drop in hand. And there's Delver. Okay. Okay, first appearance of Sylvan Library. Or at least first relevant appearance of Sylvan Library. Prismatic Ending is a good one. If I play Prismatic Ending, then Library gets dazed, and vice versa. I'm just going to play Library and pass. I can answer Delver next turn. I'm still at 20 going into turn 5. That's a good place to be. Force of Will in hand. Confirmed. Good to know. Another iteration. God, this card is unbeatable. Ragavan was exiled, so that's going to be the second main play. There he is. All right, Sylvan Library. This is the first time you've triggered in 3 matches so far. What can you do for me? Nothing. Great. Okay. Put back Wasteland and Tundra. Play my land. Prismatic End the Ragavan. All right, just let it happen. And then I'm going to put Yorion in hand. My mana's not doing anything else for me right now. If he has another Ragavan to dash, then it's going to take one of those lands off the top of my deck that I don't want anyway, and I'll shuffle before my turn, regardless. But we're starting a nickel and dime here. Like, I've cast removal spells, I've drawn cards, and he's continued to just push damage throughout. My life total is getting smaller. The board is no less stable. We know Force of Will is in hand over there. I'm gonna make the play that I have to make here. Okay, I expect to force back. Yep, Force of Will, pitching Force of Will. You get your Murktide Regent. Now I need Sylvan Library to deliver. Oh, shuffle before that. And I'm gonna get Basic Forest in case I find a Coatl here. Prismatic Vista. Swords to Plowshares, Brainstorm. Okay, Vista on top. Can I afford to pay for life here? I might have to. Alright, I'm at 8. And I'm going to start with Brainstorm. Primeval Titan, Prismatic Vista. I put 2 of these back. There are still basics in my deck. Swords to Plowshares, the big one. Okay, just had 3 forces in. You got me. I personally do not like the Zenith deck. I prefer the 60 card 4-color Bant deck, the Black Splash Pokemoki style, because like this deck does have all the same cards in it, but they are watered down. Like Sylvan Library is just not a card I would play in this format. I think this is too many Force of Negations in a main deck. There's a lot of stuff that you gain power across matchups, but you give up in the ones that you actually have a hard time with, like the ones you actually need to beat are worse, which is not a recipe that I like in the format. Or do I want to try Plague Engineer over on Mortigo this time, or do I just want to shred those Murktides out of the deck? I mean, Plague Engineer does also answer non-delirious DRCs and unflipped Delvers while blocking Ragavan. It's probably better than on Mortigo. It doesn't get Pyroblasted. Okay, let's do it. Another mulligan. This one's a keep. Alright, Uro and Endurance are present, and Swords of Plowshares. Those are like the 3 cards I want to see in the matchup. I'm probably gonna bottom the Mystical Dispute, because I need the lands to get this situation up and running. And Mystical Dispute is more reactive than I want to be. It's sending Dispute to the bottom. He kept 7. I'm gonna fetch land, go. This lets me cast Plow if I need to, but I can also fetch the basic island if I'm able to. Okay, Ponder. Good. I am not going to fire off Wasteland on this volcanic island because I'm trying to get up to this Uro and get Uro chugging. You know there's Surgical Extraction in the deck at this point, so Uro is not like ultra reliable, but it does still gain 3 life and draw a card and demand an answer. 2 Submerges, by the way. He was not kidding that this deck is tuned for the current metagame, which does have this near the top. I am in no way accusing him of building for the matchup, other than like just, you know, the matchup is relevant and this is his stock list right now. Did not shuffle the Ponder. I couldn't be so lucky. Oh, Leovold's interesting. Another powerful 3-drop. This one requiring even more mana. Like, I already can't cast the Endurance. How about we take it easy on Leovold? Okay, drawing a land would be great here. If I could actually pull ahead on the Endurance. Or on the Uro. Okay, I'm gonna get Basic Island. I've got some choices here. I can Abundant Growth my island, play Wasteland, and pass. I could just slam the Uro, hope it works. I guess slamming Uro this turn maximizes Endurance next turn, so I will go for Uro here. Uro has triggered, please land. No land. Alright, ramming up Excavator is kind of interesting. Like, it's clunky, it just runs right into Daze, but like, it is the type of card I'm looking for when I'm missing land drops, like, very obviously and explicitly. No, he's cracking 3 mana. This sucks. Whatever this is, it sucks. It doesn't even matter. Like, any 3 mana card just fucking sucks. Yeah, now he's the Monarch. I think we're just 0-3 to start. Like, this is gonna be really hard to dig out of. There is a land. I can Abundant Growth my Wasteland and then cast Leovold. That sounds so bad, though. Yeah, I think I just need to Uro, or Endurance. I would love to Uro, but I can't. Okay, go ahead and mill me. I have Uro. Like, do you want to fuel Uro? Is this the game we're playing? He milled himself. Okay. Let's get Delirious. I have a Swords to Plowshares for Murktide Region, so I'm not gonna like jump on that right away. Found a Wasteland. Fuck. Okay. Endurance. Let's go. I'm gonna target my opponent. Unholy Heat in response. Okay. This graveyard's still going away, but I am losing my fat body. And my ability to fight challenge the court. Dashing Ragavan too. This has been an absolutely relentless pummeling. I think he lied to me when he said this matchup is tough, because this has not been close to competitive in any game of any match yet. This is just absolute destruction. Jeez. Okay. Abundant Growth. Targeting my island. Like, I just don't think there's a world where I can slam ramming up Excavator here. A Prismatic Ending. And even that is not good. Like, none of this shit is good. I'm gonna Abundant Growth my Forest right back and try to hit a land drop here. Sylvan Library. I hate that card so much. It's so bad. Where's this court going? At his own face again. Brainstorming in response to court. That's a way to clear your brainstorm cards. I'm trying to think of the worst 8 cards that could be in his hand right now and the best cards I can draw in a row, and I don't think this game is winnable. Like, missing land drops is untenable in this matchup. My Uro is just rotting in the graveyard. Forget about playing around Surgical. I can't even tap 4 lands and put it into play. I can't even put it on the stack. Falling behind to this Court of Cunning. Maybe I'm supposed to Wasteland earlier, just like respect all these potent 3-drops. This milled Surgical. Not sure how many of those he's going to have. I kept a card on top. And we know Ragavan's over there dashing. He knows that I've missed a land drop. Like, wasting my Wasteland wouldn't even be that bad here. Like, I get to waste back, but he has Ragavan accumulating resources. He's actually hitting land drops because he has a full 7-card grip. I didn't dash Ragavan. I smell a Murktide Regent. Is there any hope for me if I activate this Wasteland? Any hope at all? Or is the game just over? But one of those 7 cards in hand is probably a land anyway, so I'm not going to Wasteland here. That's bad. If I had lands to spend, I would have wasted there in combat, but I just simply do not. 8/8 creature in play. I have 2 Swords to Plowshares. Let's cast one of them. Okay, good news, everybody. That happened. Can I try to stick Sylvan Library? Is one of these 7 cards in hand Narset at this point? Can Prismatic Ending this thing? That's committing to being hit by Ragavan, but I gotta take the pressure off somewhere. My deck also plays Life from the Loam, so milling me is frequently just a bad idea. Like, milling me could actually help me hit land drops. There's Ragavan again. We just have to accept this as the new world we live in. We're just going to get hit by Ragavan every turn, is what it is. Gotta hope it doesn't steal anything too precious. Alright, it's taken 2 lands with both of its hits, which I actually wanted, but I'm also glad they're not spells. It's a cruel reality we live in here. This looks like another Murktide. Nope, Delver, okay. Alright, pick up Ragavan, draw a card. Still have exactly 7 in hand. Don't even get discard value. Alright, I got some options. I can brainstorm these bad cards away, which is probably what I'm going to do. I could play Raminep Excavator into every counterspell that exists and try to hit a land drop. I'm going to brainstorm. Alright, Carpet of Flowers is actually a banger. Sylvan Library sucks, and Wasteland sucks. Carpet is the type of card that would probably force if he could. If I resolve Carpet, then I want to go to my second main and Raminap make a land drop. Double Daze is the only thing that, I guess Spell Pierce could be in this deck. Alright. I'll tap out of my white source. There's a long pause here, indicating to me that he does have a counterspell, and he's just deciding if this is important or not. Yep, does have a counterspell, is important. I agree with both of those things. Alright, stacked it so you get to peek with Delver and then decide if you want to mill all your shit or not. That's cool. Still targeting nobody with Court of Cunning. Pyroblast is in hand now. That cleanly answers this Leovold. And I have not been able to shuffle my deck at any point. At least the Ragavan will clear the Sylvan Library, which is not good. Like, that means... Oh, I had Wasteland on top, that's right. So I'm drawing Sylvan Library? That's even worse. Okay, I guess I am casting Raminep Excavator here. I am out of other plays I can make. There it is. It's on the stack. Can your 6-card hand answer this shitty creature? You can hardcast a Force of Will here. Also, pitch cast a Force of Will here. It's all good. Pitching Ponder, just, yeah, don't need that. The recurring theme in all of these games is that he's been able to get an engine online, and I haven't. The only time that I've actually, like, escaped an Uro was the one game that I won. And other than that, we're just over here, like, with my thumb in my butt, dying to Ragavan. I'm going to plow Delver because it's doing more damage than Ragavan. Like, at this point, I just have to accept the mana ramp and potential card advantage in exchange for life total. Expressive Iteration, okay. It's just seeing this face-up answer to Leovold and just being at 4 life, so Sylvan Library is useless. Looking forward to this Dash Ragavan. I'm counting that as effective 4 life. We know he left in Lightning Bolts, like there's one right there. The treasures have just been stacking up, like hardcast counterspells, easy money right now. Here comes a Murktide Regent. Oh, it's even worse. Alright. It's Narset. Picking up Daze. So now even if I draw an answer to Pyroblast, Daze answers my answer to Pyroblast. Oh my god. It's horrifying. Horrifying. Well. I can cast Uro, but it will get Pyroblasted. And then, I mean, it's the play that I have. Let's do it. Blue, blue, green, green. Okay, Uro has escaped. It can't draw cards, but I'm sure he just doesn't want me to gain the life, so easy Pyroblast there. Maybe that will let me cast Leovold next turn, but maybe not. Maybe I won't get a next turn. I can't help but think that he's got an answer in his 7-card hand to my blue 3/3. Right, exiled Caracas from the top of my deck with Ragavan. That would have been a good card to have a while ago. That ship is long sailed, though. Alright, Lightning Bolts in hand. Cool. Now I know 100% that I'm dead next turn. And there's no conversation to be had about it. Charismatic Ending, not helpful. Blue. Nope, that's not how that works. Yeah, I need black and green out of these, so okay. I could Wasteland Uro, but I know the days is face up already. All right, yeah. Green, black, blue. Here's Leovold. Leovold resolved. That is so much worse. Like, he just doesn't care. Like, he just bolt it. Like, Narset keeps it under control. Oh, Unholy Heat. Yep. Yeah, let me draw a card. JK can't because of Narset. All right, I'm dead. 3 Stern. Not even close beatings. Like, I won 1 game out of 3 matches, but none of the others were close. It's not even like, or there was the one where it was like Yorion temporarily stabilized and he ripped Lightning Bolt. So I guess there was one close game where I was a turn away from pulling ahead. But this has been absolute crushing, like not even close to competitive. If these were my first 3 matches I ever watched of Legacy, I would say that this is a horrible matchup for Zenith. And Zenith is a deck that is like built to fight it, as we were talked about. Like, that's what we're talking about. Like, this is absolutely fucked up. Like, I expected Rich to give me a run for my money. Being 0-3 after the first 3 rounds, I was not prepared for that. I am absolutely floored right now. Not mad, not tilted, don't get me wrong. That we're here in good faith competition, but just seeing how bad or how well well-built Delver in the hands of a powerful pilot just disrespects even the decks specifically targeting that deck. It is absolutely disgusting to behold. Anyway, on to the next round. I've lost the die roll in round 4. This hand, and I can play on basics with 5 colors. I have Endurance, which is, I've been keeping removal hands and getting punished. Should I be keeping creature hands to block? He kept 7. I'm going to keep as well. I wish this hand had a Swords to Plowshares, but that hasn't worked out for me yet. Okay, I'm glad that wasn't Ragavan. We'll deal with that later. Gonna fetch Basic Forest, which is kind of a crapshoot. I don't think he would spend days on an Abundant Growth, but if he did, that would make this Brainstorm a lot worse. Birds of Paradise, that's a cool one. Delver didn't flip, sweet relief. Taking my beats from the 1/1 Delver, the Fugitive Wizard. Delver not flipping means he drew a land or a creature, though. So that's not always good news. Oof, a lot of creatures. Okay, I can Brainstorm and then cast Birds of Paradise off my other basic. I could, the Zenith for 1, the only Zenith for 1 target in the whole deck's in my hand. Do I want to Brainstorm? Yeah, I think I want to play Prismatic Vista. Yeah, I'm going to Brainstorm. This is way too many Wastelands for this. Okay, Swords of Plowshares is a good one. Wasteland hasn't worked out for me yet. I'm going to get rid of these. And I'm going to cast the Birds of Paradise. I have another basic forest. It's not snow, but it is a basic forest. And I like birds better than Zenith, because Zenith can... using Zenith for Dryad Arbor opens up to Wasteland. Oh, flip revealing Gutshot. Fuck my life. Okay, there's that. There's just more answers to Dryad Arbor, and it's just a worse permanent when it's in play. Like bird tapping for any color and having flying versus having 1 power and tapping for only 1 color. Gutshot my bird immediately, in for a bunch of damage. Okay, I can... There, he is down to 2 cards in hand. That's not very many. I can... Milled over a daze, kept some other stuff. I could Zenith now. I do have a lot of this card. If I Zenith for Dryad Arbor now, that lets me get ahead of days for the future, and I am planning on Swords to Plowsharing. Okay, I don't love this, but here we go. If he doesn't get Delirious, the Dryad Arbor actually does challenge the DRCs. Brainstorm, very good card, obviously. I'm going to Plow Delver in response to the Brainstorm. He chose to keep both cards that were on top of the deck there. Or not both cards, but kept the top card twice. Which is kind of scary to me. Need another land or spell to Murktide. Mill to Island. Mill to Daze. Ponder. If the hand right now is land Murktide, he was on the play, so he does still have a land drop. I'm not ready to pitch Endurance, like pitch my Zenith to Endurance to turn off a Murktide. I might regret not doing that, but okay. All right, finally found the Delirium. Milling over a Murktide to do it, which means he either has another one or was just trying to hit Murktide, or trying to hit Delirium. God, am I supposed to pitch cast this Endurance? You know, I'm dead to Force of Will if I untap. I'm dead to Force of Will if I don't untap. I'm just in so much trouble. I've played around Daze this far. If there's a Force Blue card over there, I've lost the game though. Moment of truth. What does this game look like if I do and don't cast Endurance? Being at 6 against the deck full of bolts is a lot worse. Like, I can evoke Endurance. All right, I'm going to go to 6. The card disadvantage is just so heavy. I don't know if I can handle that. And I lose to Force of Will anyway, so let's just play it out here. Okay. Green, green, colorless. I'm just going to Endurance right now before they can untap and Murktide. Add the Force of Will. I have Ice Fang Coatl that can block for a turn, but I'm dead to Bolt. 2 cards left over there. This doesn't have Death Touch, so it's just a chump block, even if it does get to stick. And Unholy Heat for the removal. All right, dead again. The double DRC hands, just so much selection. Basically, every card you cast is Demonic Tutor. Okay, let's do this again. These 5 forces out, or should I be cutting Sylvan Library? Like, maybe I should be leaving Force of Wills in to fight those important fights. I never like leaning into Pyroblast, but this hasn't been working. If my spells resolve, I have a better chance of winning the game, obviously. So maybe I will give myself more chance of my spells resolving by leaving more forces in. None of the cute shit, no Unmoored Ego, no Plague Engineer. And I think that's what I'm going to do. That's the plan. Island, Ponder, Keep, that's the rule, right? I mean, Primeval Titan's really bad. There's no removal, there's no basic planes. Still going to keep. Not because I'm leaning into a meme, like this is try hard mode, there's $100 on the line. I just think this hand is fine. Ponder will start to get me on the right course. Brainstorm will finish off the conversion. I have basic lands I can play on. Leovold's kind of special. That's a one of in the deck that is kind of high impact, and I'm a little excited to see it in my hand, even though I can't cast it yet. We've seen Surgical Extraction, Narset, 2 Submerges, and Court of Cunning so far, plus Pyroblast, as far as sideboard cards go. Be careful around those Submerges. Okay, this is among the best spreads of cards I could have hoped for. I'm going to put Plow in my hand, and then I can Abundant Growth off of Basic Forest onto my Basic Island, and then I can cast Plow off that. Hope this is not Ragavan. Okay, good. I didn't want to have to fetch a non-basic to interact with Ragavan this early, and now I don't have to. Oh, I might have been able to get more out of this if I had Brainstorm first and then fetched and cast Abundant Growth. Yeah, that was actually kind of bad. And I am going to put Growth on Island because I have 2 islands, and this lets me cast Leovold next turn. All right, second Plow is a good one. This prime time is pretty awkward, but double Plow, the all basic 5-color mana base is set up. Force of Will in hand. I'm going to let him draw that. If I Plow now, I can get dazed. If I don't Plow now, I'm going to use my life total as a resource here. I'd really like to play around Daze if I can. I'd also like to resolve this Leovold, but might not be able to get to do both. He is on the draw, so there might be fewer Dazes in the deck, but like I said in the deck tech intro, Rich is going to know whether Daze is an effective pressure point or not, and this deck is so mana hungry that Daze is always an effective pressure point. Having 2 Plows here, I am going to spend one in the end step. Just, if you daze, you daze. Didn't daze, that's interesting. Oh, that was the fetch land is a really good draw here. I'm going to play Windswept Heath, and I'm going to brainstorm now while there's no Pyroblast up, and I played my land to play around Flusterstorm or Spell Pierce. Prime Time goes into the deck, and I don't love Tropical Island. The Wasteland might still have a home, as he played the basic, which is the worst land in his deck. Also makes my Path to Exile a lot better. If he were a random dingus in league play, he would Surgical Extraction my Plow. I wonder if Rich agrees with that line, or if he needs to save it for Uro. And I don't know that he has the Surgical right now. I'm just saying, like, someone on... I keep wanting to say on ladder, but it's not really a ladder. It's league play. Someone in a league, a less skilled player would be like, yeah, Swords of Plowshare is a good one. Let's get rid of that. Which would actually get a card out of my hand here. DRC? Yeah, you know me. I'm going to fetch basic planes in the end step. And I'm going to plow the DRC. He hasn't seen Path to Exile yet in any of our games. I think hanging on to that one is nice. Okay, I could Zenith for 2 to play around Daze and Pyroblast. I could Zenith for 3, just lean in. Here's my cards. I could play Leovold ahead of Daze. GSC plays around Pyroblast, which I like a lot. Yeah, I'm going to cast Zenith for 2. I'm probably just going to get a Coatl if it resolves. Just cantrip and have a piece of material on the board that is relevant. This plays around Pyroblast and Daze. Okay, cool. Scavenging Ooze can mess with Delirium. I think I like Coatl better, though. I want to keep the cards coming. Have my next 2 land drops lined up. That'll be a 2-for-1, one way or the other. It came into play and drew a card. If it trades with a creature or eats a lightning bolt or pyroblast, it's all good. That Force Wheel is still chilling over there, which is pretty scary because... Oh, interesting. All right. Submerging. Does this mean Ragavan is coming? Yeah, that makes sense. That is a card he would want to steal. Right, I'm going to go for my path. If he forces this, then I get Leovold next turn. Just please don't have Daze. Holy shit, don't have Daze. Kind of an awkward commitment either way, because forcing this is a 2-for-1, but Coatl gets one back. Just letting this go is a 1-for-1. Oh, it'll depend on the texture of his hand, what he wants to do here. Force Pitching Force was the line. He does want the Coatl. He is going to be able to cast it. There's going to be 3 cards in his hand afterwards. And he is currently tapped out of red, which means Pyroblast is off for Leovold. Okay. I'm going to play my Wasteland to play around Double Daze. And black, green, blue. And then I'm going to crack off a Wasteland here. All of the really terrifying shit that he showed me so far is 3 mana, like the Narset, the Court of Cunning, all that stuff that I don't want to play against. The Pyroblast hits Leovold, but I get to draw a card on the way through. We're just dancing around 2-for-1 interactions here. I had no plans of Leovold just carrying this game on his back, but sneaking him in before the Pyroblast could counter him, making him let me have a card on the draw. But now I'm in a spot where Dashed Ragavan is a problem. I can answer Cast Ragavan. Murktide Region is a problem regardless. I need an Uro is the thing. Like we've talked about, I think I've cast Uro, or Uro has like shown up in 1 game out of the 3 matches we've played so far. And that was the game that I won. Like, I need Uro here, or Zenith for Uro. I would take that. Need some action. Bottle's getting in for 1. He knows there's no haste creatures. He needs to respect. I don't have a questing beast, and I don't think Waddle can block it anyway, if I remember all the text on that card. All right. The homie has shown up. Uro, let's start pulling ahead here. Saving my land drop, my actual land drop. And I'm going to cast Birds of Paradise. And I'm going to leave up my fetch land, because if Bird gets submerged, I don't want to draw that card again. I'm not going to fetch until my turn. Do not dash Ragavan. Okay. It has different plans for this turn. Murktide Regent. Okay. It is the full 8/8. Drawing from my turn. Prismatic Ending. Okay. Fetching for a forest. Hope this works. Blue, blue, green, green. He has held on to a Force of Will this long. Okay. Didn't. Answer to Murktide. Let's go. Not an answer to Murktide, but I'm not mad about this Wasteland either. He hasn't played a land in a long time. If I could take him off Pyroblast now, that's a big deal. I just realized I fed my Leovold to Uro, but I might need that life point with Scavenging Ooze. That's tough. Might have messed that up. Submerging Uro. Okay. And then I am going to cast this Scavenging Ooze. At this point, if you daze me, you daze me. But let's get this piece of material on the board with the mana that I have. All right, no red mana, no red mana. In for 9. These extra points from the Quaddle are actually adding up in a big way. Here's the Uro. White, green, blue. Trigger. Doesn't answer Murktide Regent. Green, Abundant Growth. That doesn't answer Murktide Regent. It is a land. Where does this go wrong? I can't gain life off my Ooze because I tapped incorrectly, or I exiled incorrectly with Uro. I can chump block with Birds of Paradise, then eat Bird this turn. I can Prismatic Ending the Coatl on the way through. Going to 9, is that different than going to 8? It's mostly the same. Dangerous either way. Okay, I'm fetching. Grab this Tropical Island. Prismatic Ending my own bird, or my own snake. Not my bird. There's an actual bird in play. I'm used to just calling any small flying creature a bird, but that's not what's going on here. I'm not going to attack with Ooze because I know Ragavan's in hand. Not trying to lose to a dashed Ragavan here. Surgical Extraction is also in his deck. There's not a phase of the turn where I can float mana with Bird and then also eat Bird because mana empties between steps. Okay. Green, blue, blue. Exile 5 non-creatures. Burrows back. Come on, Swords to Plowshares. Icefang Coatl. Put in my Misty. And fetch green the same as I can. Alright. Gonna Ponder before fetching. Primeval Titan, Uro, Force of Will. Those are almost good cards, but I gotta shuffle this. Okay, Coatl that I can't cast this turn. If I fetch now, I can eat my Birds of Paradise and get rid of that. You would have to... Alright, I am going to attack here. You would have to remove Uro and dash Ragavan with 1 mana and none of it's red. I'm not saying it can't be done. I'm just saying I'm willing to take the risk in this position. I'm going to 4. That is still out of bolt range. Looks like I'm just getting another turn. Mystical Dispute. Okay, good, 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 good. Starting to get there. Should Ooze hold back against the dashed Ragavan? Probably. Okay, I'm just going to attack with Uro. I'm just going to place safe as possible across the board here. I'm at 7. Night of Autumn can buy me another turn. There she is. I want her in gain 4 life mode. I'm going to Coatl now. I really don't want to risk it getting Pyroblasted. Okay. Green, blue. Icefang Coatl. Oh, we got one. We did it. We did it. We did it. All right. All right. Game 3. Game 3. I don't know that anything changes. The Force of Will thing didn't really pan out. I saw one off Ponder and shuffled it away. Was not really a point where I would have been able to cast Force of Will. Never really had blue cards just chilling in my hand. You end up hellbent so quick. Maybe it's bad. I don't know. It's really hard to balance all of this. I actually think the Unmoored Ego has something to it. It's just one card out of many, and I don't know. I'm going to bring that back in. Let's go. All of the games I've lost were to Murktide Regent. My deck's very good at gumming up the ground and absorbing damage from small things, but it's not great at beating 12/12s. My hand is good. I'm going to keep... I have all 4 colors off of basic lands. Oh, he does have a Steam Vents. We hadn't seen that one yet. God, I love when he leads on Ponder. And he plays more 1-drops than most Delver decks, because he actually has Delvers. So games where he ponders are very nice. Words of Plowshare is very good draw. Okay. This hand is coming together in a way that I enjoy. If he dazes this, it's going to cost him 2 life, but I think he knows better. There are better daze targets. Could dash Ragavan pretty safely here, but I'm not that worried about it. He did shuffle the Ponder last turn. Is it Oh, he wouldn't have played Steam Vents if he had another mana-producing land. So the Ponder, Shuffle, Brainstorm, that was a Hail Mary to find the second mana source. That's what he's doing here. I bet he has a handful of Murktides. That's my read on this situation. Did not shuffle this one. Ramanab Excavator. I'm going to play my Misty Rainforest and cast Ponder. There's Uro. Thank you for showing up. I definitely want Uro in my hand. The only question is, do I want Brainstorm or Wasteland under it? I think I want the Wasteland in my hand, because that's the one, that's an extra land drop, and if Uro triggers and just doesn't put a land in, then he didn't do a whole lot. And if this mana struggle continues, okay, the mana struggle did not continue. And here's a big fat Murktide Regent. Okay. 5 cards in hand. We gotta bet that one of them is Force of Will. I no longer want Wasteland. I want Swords to Plowshares exclusively. I'm gonna fetch basic island here. This kind of sucks. I could Uro right now, start to pull ahead. Yeah, I'm gonna Uro here. If he wants to Daze Force or otherwise fight over Uro, at least it's not a clean Pyroblast. All right, Daze is in the deck, confirmed. 1 less counterspell to fight through. Expressive Iteration. All right, we haven't seen this one yet this match. It's back. And I am exposed to Wasteland right now. Mercifully, didn't happen. Here comes 7 damage from Murko. Come on, Mystical Dispute. Abundant Growth. Is this good? Not bad. Cast Abundant Growth onto my island. This gives me more looks. Okay, good, 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 good. Swords to Plowshares, Murktide Regent. Force of Will. I'm gonna let Surveil resolve. Milling Pyroblast. Okay, that's gone. And then I'm gonna Swords to Plowshares again. Please don't have 2 forces. Submerge his own Murktide Regent. That's fun. Okay, cool. That makes Endurance really good. Like pitch casting Endurance. I think, how hard do I want to play around Daze? If I Prismatic Ending now, then Daze, I think the Surveil is not particularly effective. Prismatic Ending, RC. And this is rough, but here it comes. Primeval Titan. All right, cool, we did it. It's in there. He's about to draw an irrelevant Murktide Regent. My last card in hand is the Ramanap, which is actually good on this board state. Abundant Growth. I'm going to Ramanap first. That lets me hit my land drop and play the whole turnaround Daze. Misty Rainforest. Fetch. You can Submerge and I lose my Ramanap, but that's not that important right now. I'm going to get my basic forest and use my 5-color land to 5-colorify my 1-color land. And Zenith. I'm going to save that. We can do better than Dryad Arbor here. Okay, I'm at 10. Got 3 cards in hand. One of them's Murktide Regent. Delver was the draw for turn. It would have been in play if he had it last turn. I kind of want to keep dancing around Pyroblast. Like if I just shove this Uro into Pyroblast, I could Zenith for 3 and still cast Coatl. That sounds pretty good. I have another basic I can fetch. All right, I'm out of basics. And 1, 2, 3, 4. Zenith for 3. I'm very interested in Leovold here. And this puts the Leovold in as a green spell rather than giving him a chance to counter it as a blue spell. I think Ramanap can attack. Might as well do it now while the getting's good. I didn't Pyroblast Leo in the end step, which makes me wonder if he has it. Delver didn't flip. And he didn't shuffle. What non-creature or non-spell card do you want here? Oh, Narset. That's a good one. I'll cast Coatl in response. He's just going to activate Narset. I don't want to let him find Pyroblast in the meantime. First appearance of Field of the Dead, and what a good appearance it is. Yeah, Narset and Court of Cunning are exactly the cards that wouldn't flip Delver, and you also wouldn't shuffle away here. Between Narset and EI, he has a like fucked up amount of card draw that doesn't actually draw cards. Okay, I'm gonna attack Narset with everything first. I think I can clear her. I have 3 damage even if he blocks Leovold. And that turns on the card draw from Uro. 3 cards in hand. 2 of them are Murktide EI. And I'm ready to go into the Field of the Dead. I'm leaving creatures in my graveyard this time in case I find Scavenging Ooze. Alright, cool. We are in business now. Field of the Dead. Oh my god, I get to do the Unmoored Ego. I get to Unmoored Ego. And fetch. Does it matter what I fetch here? They're all non-basic. Oh, it needs to be blue or black. So it does matter. Savannah doesn't work. I'll go Tropical Island. Alright, do I take the Murktide regions or the Expressive Iterations? I think it's EI. Blue. Black. We joked about how I wasn't going to bring this card in, but here it is. I'm going to take Expressive Iterations. Unholy Heat Murktide. And we get to look at his whole deck list right now. 2 Submerge. 1 Flusterstorm. 1 Court. 1 Narset. Okay. We got the haha love it GG in the chat. $100 on the board. Count 1 for the good guys. It's round 5. I have lost the die roll, and Dryad Arbor is making this hand unkeepable. If this were basic forest or a fetch land, this would be a great hand, but I have to mulligan as it stands. I can keep this one, and I'm going to bottom Primeval Titan. Okay. This has not been a total waste. I've made $100. Let's see if I can make it 2. DRC. Okay, cool. Icefang Coatl makes me feel less bad about fetching basic island here. Because Ponder is more important right now than Prismatic Ending. Uro is a good one. This is actually a pretty good spread of cards. I'm keeping all of these. Not that I have the choice to keep some of them, but I am going to end up with all of them. Unless Ragavan happens. I guess that's a possibility. Milled over the Gut Shot. Thanks for that. Getting got by Gut Shot is so embarrassing. I mean, it's like a blowout, and a very obvious and intentional blowout when you're a Ragavan mirror, but it's so embarrassing when it's like, oh, I drew my Birds of Paradise. Brainstorm, Fetchland, and Ponder. All right, we are shredding into the Merc Zone. Milled over a Ragavan. All right, either already has one or doesn't want one. That does also give Delirium, so could just be saying that this 3 damage is worth more than Ragavan is. Okay, I'm going to Abundant Growth my island. I could Prismatic Ending into Daze, which we all know I don't love, but that Daze is going to get me eventually. Look how heavy my hand is, and I have an ETB tapped land. I'm just going to exile this creature while I have the mana around. The other option was Ponder, but then I get Dazed on my Uro next turn, which I think is going to do more for me overall. And Daze it is. The days of our lives. The days of our days. Brainstorm. Milled over a Wasteland. Well, that's good. That means we're not getting Murktide this turn. I would love it if one of the top 2 cards in my top 2 cards in my deck was a blue source, and they don't have Daze. Wasteland. I'm going to cast my Uro. This is what my deck is for. This is the type of card that I would prefer if it wasn't countered, but it's not going to break my heart if it is. Is countered. My heart is breaking a little bit with these Wastelands. Delver didn't flip. Mishra's Bauble, okay. Yeah, that's a card that is really good with DRC and really awkward with Delver. Interesting tension there. I smell a Murktide, though. Oh, no Murktide. Okay, I'm going to draw for turn. I'm getting bobbled. Draw for turn. Wasteland you. Wasteland you. This is kind of a wild swing, but I think it's good. All right, Lightning Bolt makes it a little rougher. If Delver flips, I'm in trouble. All right, please don't have the Gut Shot. Blue-green, here's this jerk. Let's hope he's out of lands. All right, bobble. Please don't flip. Please don't flip. Please don't flip. Fuck. It flipped. Oh, and had a land anyway. Didn't matter. Okay. I took my wild swing. It didn't pay off. 2 dazes. No problems. I don't think I'm going to win many games on the draw when my opponent has 2 dazes. Certainly not in game 1 situations. All right, we have not taken a game 1 for the entire series on the play or the draw. Carpet of Flowers, Endurance, and Unmoored Ego. I have decided I like Unmoored Ego better than Plague Engineer and the third Force of Will. And Sylvan Library can suck my entire ass. Hate that card. In case it wasn't clear, this is not the build of Bant that I would choose if I was trying to win a tournament. Here we go. Deck submitted. Now he knows to play around Unmoored Ego. 2 Submerge, 1 Flusterstorm, 1 Narset, 1 Court of Cunning. That's the sideboard. I did forget to count the number of dazes he had when I was peeking through his deck. Carpet of Flowers is worth a lot to me. I'm going to keep this hand on the strength of that. And I can Ponder now, or I can get Carpet down when only Force of Will can interact with it. I think I want to Ponder, though. Oh, I misclicked. I ended up with the Forest anyway. Whoops. Hope that doesn't punish me. I did mean to fetch Island here. Shit. That was awkward. I hope this works out. Yeah, being able to Ponder or Preordain on 1 and then continue to develop while floating the mana, that would have been a lot better than having this random forest around. I'm making blue mana, and I'm going to Wasteland, actually. I've already floated my mana. I got what I wanted out of that. Preordain. I don't actually want either of these cards. Icefang Quaddle is a better one. And he could just not play a land, and it would punish my Carpet. But he's also not developing, if that's the plan. Right, I am not going to use Carpet's ability. I'm going to main phase Icefang Quaddle, because if he Pyroblasts it, I get to make mana in the second main. And then I can cast my Ponder. Right, Quaddle's just in there. All right, this hand's starting to come together. The mana's still really awkward. Doing stuff with his mana in the end step to avoid the Carpet. Brainstorm. End step Brainstorm. Someone is pushing some velocity here, which I think is reasonable to do with DRC. Extremely interested in getting Delirium right now because my 1/1 just trades even without Death Touch. As a second land, fetching Murktide can arrive as a 4/4 right now. And that's what has happened. Means DRC is a trade if he attacks, which he's not going to do, because why would you? Zenith. Okay. What color do I want to make? I don't have to make anything. I'm actually gonna... Well, I probably should use Carpet's ability, because if he dazes my Ponder... Right, I'm going to make blue. Make blue. I can make a green land drop, cast Endurance, cast Ponder, and cast Path to Exile, all with the mana that I have available right now. Oh, first appearance of Loam. Interesting. I'm actually going to put Loam on top. I might be able to bait a counterspell with this. Use all of my floating mana to target those two. And this Prismatic Vista gets me closer to Murderous Coatl. And I'm going to Path to Exile. I'm still playing around Daze. I can't punch through Force anyway. And the only basic we've seen is an Island. So this is effective versus, or with my Carpet. It's a combo with Carpet. Aggressive Iteration. My nightmare. There's one Submerge in exile already. Unholy Heat, my homie. Okay, that's tough. We're just punching for 7s. I can cast a big Green Sun Zenith this turn. There's 3 cards in there. I am going to fetch. I don't want those lands on top of my deck, and I don't want to have to dredge Loam. I do want spells at this point. Not dredging Loam. That is about the best spell. I'm going to make blue mana, because it doesn't matter, right? I'm going to make blue. I'm representing a hard cast something. Swords to Plowshares, the Murktide. Please don't have a force. Okay, no force, no problem. Now I can Endurance or Zenith. I guess I should have made green, because then I could have wasted. I think I want to Endurance here, though. What happens if I Zenith for Uro? No, it's Endurance. Like, that hits the next Murktide. It invalidates the current DRC. It's Endurance time. I should have made green with that so I could Wasteland also. Get your graveyard out of here. Oh, I can put Yorion in my hand. Fuck yeah! Didn't go to waste. All right. Thanks, Yorion. This game has had a number of small misclicks and misplays. Luckily, I haven't been punished for it yet. EI keeping the card on top. Don't like that. Exiled Ponder. Okay. We can play this small game. I don't mind that. Got rid of a Wasteland. That's cool too. I mean, I have Carpet, I guess, so Wasteland's not doing a whole lot. I don't have to worry about Pyroblast this turn cycle because I can Wasteland. If he plays an untapped land, I can waste it, and then my Zenith can ride, or Yorion, or whatever. This game I feel better about because we have removal and butts. I had a lot of games in the first half of the league where I had removal or butts, and you need both. Which is why I like the 60 card builds better, because all that's in those decks is removal and butts. There's no, like, there's nothing fancy. Submerging my Endurance after not shuffling the Ponder. Right. And that makes DRC delirious again. It puts Endurance on top of my deck, but clearly not worried about that. Oh, Surgical Extraction, that's smart. That then shuffles away my Endurance. Okay. Cool. Looks like it's Zenith for Uro time. And hope he doesn't have Force of Will. Or I could Zenith for Endurance. That play did indicate, or like signal pretty hard, that Murktide Region is in the hand. Okay, Carpet triggers. I have 2 green and 2 blue. I can make it 3 blue. I could go all the way in on Uro this turn. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I do have 8 mana. Yeah, I have to make green because the whole front half of Uro costs green because of Zenith. Green mana. I'll tap the island. Zenith for 3 is my play here. And I think Uro is better than Endurance, though it might be close. I'm going with Uro. Uro, trigger, not Dredge Loam. In this island, Uro dies. Nobody gets priority on Wasteland. I cast Uro. I can exile all the cards in my graveyard except for Loam. Still playing around Daze. Uro triggers. Still not dredging Loam. Put in Dryad Arbor. Wasteland for good measure. Mana is not my pinch point at this juncture. Answering the Murktide Region is my pinch point at this juncture, which Endurance could have done, but gaining 6 and drawing 2 cards while presenting a 6/6, like, it's hard to talk me off of that. I have Loam, so if he Pyroblasts Uro in play, Loam can immediately reload the graveyard to go again. That sequence last turn was awesome, though. And there are no Swords to Plowshares left in my deck. So Murktide Regent is actually kind of a big problem, but I can Zenith for 2 Coatls. That's a big deal. I have 2 Zeniths for 2 Coatls. Do I Dredge Loam? Do I want to waste? Is wasting him off of mana sources going to be part of my game plan? Maybe it is. Yeah, I'm going to Dredge Loam. And Carpet of Flowers, trigger, yes, make green. Then 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Play from the Loam, or I'm going to Loam first. Play a land. Zenith for 2. Get a Coatl. Ice Fang Coatl, number 1. I'm not going to Dredge Loam now. Endurance, that's not bad, but not what I'm looking for here. Then 1, 2, 3. Zenith for another Coatl. Not going to Dredge Loam here either. I am going to attack with Uro. I want the life and I want the Wasteland. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, starting next turn, he's going to have no mana, and we got to get through these. He's got to get through these Coatls on no mana. And if he waits too long, I can flicker the Coatls and draw a bunch of cards. Okay, Brainstorm is good. And Dredge Loam, Escape Uro puts 2 Wastelands into play. Or Field of the Dead and Wasteland. I guess Endurancing him doesn't matter because Murktide doesn't trample, and all of my removal, there's nothing size-based. It's Death Touch or Path to Exile, but did I eat Path to Exile? I did. So there are actually no removal spells. There's Grist. Grist can kill Murktide Regent. Maybe I should have done that with the second Zenith a turn ago, but that would have played into Daze, I think, if memory serves. We're at the point of the game where Zenith is really good, though. And I'm definitely willing to Scorched Earth my Carpet of Flowers in exchange for him having no mana. He should probably attack with Dragon's Rage Channeler, because I am not going to put a Coatl in front of that. They're too valuable right now. Pyroblast and Lightning Bolt can work through the Coatls and then get Murktide connecting. That's not a block I'm going to make, and you know it. I am going to Dredge Loam. Milled 3 great cards, of course. I have 3 blue and 3 green. I'm going to make green with this. There are not really any white cards left in the deck, but Dryad Arbor doesn't do anything. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I can just escape Uro and leave Wasteland in there. Here comes Uro. We're getting Pyroblasted here. That would not surprise me. Yep, Pyroblast, that's fine. You got it. Do I play around Daze here, or do I just slam? Like, I can cast Yorion, or I could Wasteland and keep this Coatl pinch going. Oh, Endurance shuffles lands back into the deck, though I'm not convinced that matters. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I can play Wasteland, cast Light from the Loam on the other Wasteland. I definitely need to cast Loam this turn. Just depends on if I want to cast Endurance also. I don't think so. Wasteland, take out the Volcanic Island. If you're going to Daze me, it's going to cost you 2 life. Life from the Loam, my Wastelands. I should leave Dryad Arbor untapped, probably, in case I get an opportunity to block this DRC. Played an island that is not a red source. The Wasteland keeping him off Pyroblast is what I'm really looking for here. Like, I can Wasteland, take out Steam Vents, and then move to second main, escape Uro. No attacks, love it. I am going to Dredge Loam because I'm trying to get my Uro mana back up. Or Uro count back up. Do not use Carpet now. Use Wasteland now. Go ahead, float your mana, do your worst. Yeah, all red sources in the deck are accounted for between the graveyard and... Okay, scooped it up. Ooh. Why did I think that was game 3? I was so excited. He was playing like it was game 3. All right, I got one more to win here. All of the red sources in the deck were accounted for. The thought I was starting to say when he conceded, which means that I'm not going to Endurance him because that puts the red sources back into the deck. I don't think he can beat that board without any red mana. Submerge can remove a Coatl, but it can't remove 2. Yikes. A 1-lander with Loam is so tempting. But I had 2 Uros and Loam. I have to mulligan this, though. That's such a beating. I am going to keep this one. I'm going to send... this is tough now, too. Well, I'm going to send Force to the bottom because I'm going to cast Ponder. Though winning the fight over the first Endurance could go a long way. I don't know. This sucks. I hate mulligans. I am keeping this hand. I think I'm sending the second Endurance to the bottom. As good as that card is, yeah, because my Abundant Growth has to work, or else this hand doesn't go anywhere. Right, another Ponder start. Glad for that. He also mulled to 6, by the way. Keeping things even. Keeping it interesting. Land, please. Oh. He did not shuffle his library. I am going to save my Wasteland until later. I'm not going to cheese out the Delver deck by being a better cheese Wasteland deck than them. Let me get my colors set up, draw some cards. I'll Wasteland next turn to keep him off of all his busted 3-drops. But for now, let's chill. Okay, passing the turn. I'm going to Wasteland and then cast Ponder. Brainstorming in response, you got it. Wasteland might be good as just a source of mana for me here this game, but I have this handful of Ponders, and like I said, the Narset, the Court of Cunning, all of those things happen on 3 mana, which I am trying to avoid. Let's see if he wants to aggro Pyroblast here, or if that gets saved for later. Normally the aggro Pyroblast is a play for when you're already on board, but if he's not going to have mana up for a while, this is a fine place to do it. Did have the second land. Kind of hoping for Murktide here. Okay, I'm ready to answer that one. I'm not going to force it. I'm going to plow it, and then if he fights over plow, I'll force that. Tundra, Swords to Plowshares. That's gone. And I'm not going to cast this Ponder because, like I've been saying, he has all these busted 3-drops. If he just jams Narset or Court of Cunning here, this is why I left Force of Will in the deck. That's the whole reason it's there. Okay. Rewarded for the patience. And I don't need to Endurance right now. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. I'm going to put Yorion in hand right now. I'm going to hope that was the big flourish and the Court of Cunning isn't also in hand. Maybe just like pass the turn. Land go, baby. Give it to me. That's the good shit. Okay, I can Endurance now while playing around Daze. End step, green, Caracas. Caracas also keeps Monkey off my back. I don't mind shuffling Narset back into the deck if it keeps him off Delirium and Murktide for a while. I like Brainstorm here a lot. Because if he's been holding onto a Pyroblast for Yorion, put back these 2 Swords to Plowshares. Carpet of Flowers. I'm going to attack here. He either has Pyroblast or he's just buried. And I'm going to put him to the test right now. Yes, make white. And I'm leaving Caracas untapped out of respect for Ragavan. All right, had Force of Will. That's great. Cost him 2 for 1. And my next 2 draws are both Swords to Plowshares. I'm just going to fire this off. DRC represents so much more than just a creature. And I want to deny that wherever I can. And I am going to Wasteland. Start the squeeze. I have Carpet. I don't need colorless mana anymore. Drawing another Plow. Keep attacking. Unholy Heat is not Delirious. We drew a land for turn. Would have played it if he had it any sooner. I'll make green. Then I can put Abundant Growth on... I think I just want to put it on my forest again. I don't want to lose material to Wasteland. All right, play Dryad Arbor for turn. Like, I could reasonably Endurance the Yorion back into my deck and then find it again, and then Abundant Growth matters. This is a really good Brainstorm. This is the completely changed the texture of the game Brainstorm. If it was Ponder, I would have known it came off the top, and I would know that the hand only got 1 card better. But Brainstorm can change a hand by multiple cards. Okay, that's a good one. Yes, and make blue. Blue-green, cast Coatl. Draw a card. All right, Path to Exile's nice. Can I pay for Flusterstorm? I've cast Coatl, and then Plow would be 2, Fluster would be 3, 1, 2, 3. I can pay for that. Or I can just attack and go into his upkeep and get him there. If he casts an instant and gets Delirium here, I can remove the Channeler. But if we end up trading Channeler for Dryad Arbor, I'm very happy with that deal. Lightning Bolting Coatl. Okay. That goes the widest. I don't want to answer this DRC. I don't want to respect it at all. Actually, is it even possible? He'd have to cast 2 instants and mill 2 different things. Like, every card in the graveyard is an instant or land right now, and this is another instant. Yeah, it's extremely unlikely to get Delirium here. Kept the card on top, though. Must be a good one. All right, cool. Trading off Dryad Arbor. That's a deal. All right, Court of Cunning. Does he have Submerge? Because I'm about to take the Monarchy. Unless he has Submerge. All right, let's attack and see what happens. All right, does have exactly Submerge. Okay. That is a pain in the ass, for sure. Yes, use this ability. I'm going to make red mana, black, white. We're going to end the court. I don't want any amount of milling, any additional win conditions or additional anything happening. He is going to be the Monarch, going to draw multiple cards here. Endurance is on top of my deck, which is one of my better ones. That's one of his better ones. Uh-oh, this is where it turns. Okay, that attack, that's why he bolted the Coatl and traded with the Dryad Arbor. And maybe I should have respected Monarchy a lot more than I did. Shocked in Steam Vents. Fetching. Oh, did he find the Narset? Oh, failed to find. Are we there already? Or was that intentional somehow? Volcanic Island. Volcanic Island. Yeah, all the red sources are there. This is exciting. Okay, I'm going to let him draw before I Path to Exile. Or I'm actually going to Swords to Plowshares. No, he's at 5. I'm going to Path to Exile. Because if he did draw Force of Will, I want him to use it before I draw my Endurance and jam it. Yes, make green. Cast this right now. And I am going to target myself, get all these good cards back in the deck, or nobody. It's not him. Or no, it is him. He has plenty of mana. Like, fuck that. For a second there, I was like trying to be too clever, but okay. The Submerges are spent. Unholy Heat is off. I can remove a creature. If I can take the Monarchy, I think I win this game. But I have to get this Endurance through this turn cycle to do that. One Submerge. Oh, there is another Submerge in the deck. Shit. Wasteland. Taking out Caracas. I'll float white. ERC. Okay. Alright, gets to draw a card. I'm going to go to my turn. Moment of truth. Yes. Make white. Towards the Plowshares. Rainstorm. Uh-oh. Oh, this is so tense. I am officially out of gas. If this shit doesn't work, I am in trouble. I mean, if he just counters Plow, then I still get to attack and there's a forced block. Unholy Heat. Oh, God. This could hit Delirium. Ah! Ah! Fuck! Now I'm gonna die to this damn Monarch. And he wasted my Caracas last turn. Alright, come on, Green Sun Zenith. That's not it. The Dryad Arbor's already lost. Yeah, maybe I just, like, got stupid that turn I attacked with Dryad Arbor. This game would be easily mine if I just kept creature density on the board. And now he's outdrawing me 2-1. Into Expressive Iterations? Yeah, this one is gone. We lost it. I mean, Green Sun Zenith for Primeval Titan, and it all resolves, might get the job done here. Alright, Green Sun Zenith right now. A Ponder. Alright, I'll make blue mana. He's probably got a Pyroblast or some shit by now. And now is where you definitely just throw any card at any card. Because it just doesn't matter. You have so many more cards than me. Wow. Extremely well played. And now Ragavan's doing Ragavan shit. Alright, I didn't want that. That's fine. Narset, that hurts. Force of Will in hand. Yeah, that's... My last hope was sneaking a Green Sun Zenith through Force of Will, and now the Force of Will is just face up. Guess I'll cast this Leovold I drew, but it doesn't matter. He has Narset, like, he could just bolt it. I've already drawn a card this turn. We've seen this before. Would have been nice if I could have at least, you know, gotten a Force of Will out of that, but not gonna happen. Another Expressive Iteration. Maybe he'll forget to attack a few times and deck himself. That's the only way that I can still win this game. Ragavan attacking. Got a Coatl, okay. Taking cards I actually want now. Narset found Unholy Heat, which is very delirious. Well, you have to discard. You have 9 cards in your hand. I'm trying to think of what sequence of draws could get me out of this. I have 14 life. Attacking for 3 a turn. Just fetched for the Volcanic Island that I put back in the deck with Endurance. An Uro can gain me a bunch of life. Even if he counters it and fights over it, that's at least a bunch of life. Now we're taking Brainstorms. That's fine. He has Narset. I didn't want that. As horrible as it is, I am relieved that Ragavan took that from the top of my deck. Yeah, there was a period that I really thought we were winning this game. And it was that that turn where I let him trade off with my Dryad Arbor. That was the game. Okay, and we're dead on board. GG's, Rich. Tough matchup, powerful player. That was a clinic. Thus concludes the $500 playoff, or in my case, the $100 playoff. Rich came right here into my house, took all my money. I'm glad I got something out of this. But we learned some important lessons. The first lesson is that this deck, while it does have some game against Delver and is well-rounded against the format, if you knew for sure you were going to play against Delver 5 rounds in a row, you should not play this list or this archetype. I mean, obviously this list, like I said at the beginning, you would cut Force and Negation, Sylvan Library, just play 4 Baleful Strix, cut Night of Autumn for another Endurance, cut Field of the Dead for something that makes mana. Like, there's a lot of ways to play an 80-card Yorion deck while targeting Delver exclusively. But if you wanted to play like a normal deck that's not targeted at Delver exclusively, but still have more game against Delver than this build, I would recommend a 4-color version, whether you're splashing red or black. A 60-card 4-color version, I think that's the way to go. I think it's just cleaner. You're going to see the cards you want more often. There's fewer cards you don't want. And it's just a cleaner experience. You're never going to top deck Night of Autumn when you need Endurance or whatever. Like, there's better removal, more reliable. Just being more reliable is the thing. How many opening hands had Primeval Titan in this league? Like, it was more than 2. It happens. Sometimes you top deck Birds of Paradise on turn 5. Like, also happens. That just doesn't happen in a deck that doesn't have all these cute little toolbox tools in it. You can make your deck just the toolbox. Like, drawing more cards, playing good cards, that's the toolbox. You don't need to be cute about it. And Zenith was cool a few times. Zenith sucked a few times. And it's a give and take. But in this heads-up blue-red versus Bant Yorion playoff, this is not what I would choose. And we got taken to the cleaners as a result. Rich also is really good. I think he won at least 2 matches that an average player wouldn't. Especially that last one. Like, holy crap. That the multi-turn planning of like bolting my Coatl, trading off with my Dryad Arbor, becoming the Monarch, using his last card in hand to submerge, and then submerging on my upkeep, so it would take me 2 turns to redraw the Endurance, finding the other submerge on the tail end, or was it the other submerge? No, it was getting to exactly Delirium by casting Unholy Heat after stacking the top of the deck with Brainstorm to know he was going to hit Delirium. Like, just a beautiful clinic of getting buried, where if I had been planning around everything, I would have just not made the attack with my 1/1s. So yeah, really great play, multi-turn planning, used all of his cards, got every drop of value out of them, and pulled out some ones that I thought we had won. Really impressive stuff. He was recording his matches as well. As soon as I know where they're going to be posted, I'll have the link in the video description. If it's not up right away, keep an eye on that spot or watch Twitter or whatever. I'll be retweeting it whenever he posts it. And that's the playoff. I cannot endorse this deck if you expect large amounts of blue-red Delver. And if you're in a more open field where people are doing more stuff and you might play against Delver, you might not. I think this deck is fine. This deck is very powerful. It's not where I'd want to be with my career on the line. And that's my final word on 4-color Yorion Zenith. Thank you all for watching. Thank you, Rich, for playing along. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, go check out Rich's videos, all that stuff, and I'll see you next time.